Panago Pizza presents SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Steve,
jacked now.
Why are you jacked? You walked in and Jesse and I wasn't in here, and then Jesse's like, Steve's on a thing right now. What's going on? Are you okay?
I don't know. Sometimes I forget that, okay, first of all, never tweet. Never tweet. Especially never tweet on a Saturday night. Because everyone's drunk and has nothing to do. And I think that's just how it works.
I think everyone with Twitter is drunk and has nothing to do. There's lots of people with plenty of things to do, and they're probably not on Twitter.
And then you add in you're tweeting about something violent and also about the team that lost, and you have a recipe for mention soup. And
Did you hear a lot from St. Louis yesterday?
So the
did
thing
I,
that happened
Adam?
was yesterday, Adam. Steve Dangle tweeted about Troy Bauer coming at Travis Dermott.
Yes.
Yeah.
They decided to get in a kerfuffle because they were down by a lot. So Troy Bauer was like, I'm going to get something started.
I'm gonna fight the guy that doesn't fight.
As
5 minutes for kerfuffle would have been much better and would have been very on brand for Wes McCauley with this
Right.
whole cute thing.
I called it, the garbage man was doing his job. He took out the trash.
Yeah.
The garbage man.
Can he take
paid-
himself out then?
He did. He's paid to deal with garbage, and he dealt with the garbage. And he did it well. The garbage man did a good job taking out the garbage.
I think the
it's a good
official,
trade.
The official certainly allowed him to do his job.
Now, why are you upset at a thing you knew that was going to happen, and a thing we all expected, and a thing that we expect of a guy?
Wait, why am I still mad at Troy Bauer?
Yes.
Oh, I'm over it now.
Well, at the time.
Oh, at the time. Listen, okay, you fight a guy, you want to spark your team, or you lay a big hit, whatever. I totally get that.
Yeah, coming from the guy who sat here and yelled, "Punch somebody in the face, why don't you?"
Yeah, totally. I get
during
it.
that 6-game
No,
losing
but
streak.
Punch somebody in the face, but then I wouldn't turn around and be like, "Whoa, hey, what? Why is the other team on the power play now?" So he slashes Dermott, cross-checks him in the face, and clearly starts fighting before Dermott does. Slashing, cross-checking, instigating. 2 of them are point blank. If you don't want to call the thing to the face, whatever, because that goes on all the time. The slash was missed, and the instigate. Okay, you were looking enough to call the fight, so that means you were looking enough to call the instigator. There's no excuse to miss that one. You miss something that's behind the play like the slash, fine. There's no excuse. The fact that Dermott got mauled, essentially, mauled, and came out of it with 5 apiece so that the cute Dancy Man could do his cute Dancy Man thing. I don't give a shit about Wes McCauley.
So you're
It's
not
embarrassing
mad.
for NHL fans that we think he's fun.
You're not mad at Troy Bauer. You're mad at the referees.
Yes. Well, and
Okay.
I'm mad at Troy Bauer for doing the piece of shit thing, but I also understand that
Yes.
his role is to do piece of shit things.
Okay.
He has to do piece of shit things to stay in the lineup / league. That's how it works. I totally get it. I can be mad at him for it. Also, did you know that Nazem Kadri used to be a Leaf?
Yes, and he also used to do piece of shit things that get suspended for them.
Whoa. Now let's go through every Leafs and Blues alumni until we have a clear winner. Let's do that, because I feel like that's what this is going towards.
Is that what it was going towards?
No, I don't fucking know what it was going towards.
It was such a nothing. Like I watched it. It was a nothing sort of.
It was
instance.
inconsequential to anything.
No, but because I said one thing about it, then 1,000 people come back, and now I got to say a bunch of more
Okay,
things
if
about
you're
it.
a Blues fan and you're defending Troy Bauer, knock it off. Like it's okay. Okay. And I'll be honest with you. With Naz, when Kadri was a Leaf,
Literally called for him to be traded.
we'd be like, I love the guy, but this is bullshit, and you can't do that. And we said that several times, 2 years in a row in the playoffs. You can rub that in our face all you want, and you can go back to any of the other tough guys. We were the guys saying, Colt Noor and Fraser McLaren, those guys, like back in the day when we had the show and they were on the team.
Yep.
There are certain guys on your team.
There was that one legendary game against the Habs. The Leafs won like 5 or 6 to nothing. And Colt Noor and Fraser McLaren just fought the Habs.
Yeah.
Like the whole team.
For no reason.
No reason.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody was defending Troy Bauer. I think people were upset at you for being surprised at the situation.
No.
I think they were defending him.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is that Troy Brouwer is a piece of shit and has always been a piece of shit, and that's how he plays hockey, and that's why he still has a job. So here's the thing: it's the same doofuses that were, and I don't mean like Troy Brouwer, the person, is a piece of shit. I don't know Troy Brouwer.
Yeah, this is the same guy who need Kasperi Kapanen less than a year ago.
His on ice persona is, I'm shitty.
Sure.
So is Robert Bortuzzo. So is. Name a person on every team.
I hate how
Brad
much Brad
Marchand
appears to be a nice guy off the ice.
Yeah, of course. The Tkachuk brothers, who seem like a lot of fun off the ice.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are guys that are just shitty on the ice, and you don't need to defend them. Just go, it's our guy, and he's kind of shitty. Sucks for you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what are you defending? You can't defend him. It's like, it was like the same
watch
people.
me, Adam.
It was like the same people that defended Robert Bortuzzo for the 4-game suspension. And I got it on the Victor Arvidsson cross-check, and I got to tell you, man, Robert Bortuzzo did... He dove.
And he's been diving. He's 4 to 6 weeks out with
for diving. And the thing is, Bortuzzo did St. Louis a huge favor by not being able to play for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a benefit to St. They get better when he's not in the lineup. Brouwer, by the way, I'm just reading up on him because he's only played 7 games this year. And I was like, what's that about? And then I guess he didn't have his visa sorted out or something like that. Like, I guess they signed him later and he had to get his visa sorted. So
I don't know or care.
It was kind of crazy. Anyway, random story.
Done.
And you also don't like Wes McCauley.
Yeah, what's the deal with that? He's just like a dude.
5 minutes for fighting, and we got to do a replay. Hey, everyone, gather around. Look at this. Look at this. Shut the fuck up. He's so boring. This sport is awful.
You don't like when people have fun?
Wes McCauley is our beacon of fun. Yeah. Holy shit, do we have work to do? Wow.
Hey, Jesse.
What?
When you walk, I asked Jesse. I'm not talking to you.
Here, wait. If you do a cute little dance with what you're about to say, I have to laugh at you nonstop for
Jesse,
5 minutes till I vomit.
Throw it to you.
Sure.
You didn't catch it. I threw it. You didn't catch it.
Yeah, I got it.
Wow. Both feet in. Did you think that after a 5-2 win against this defending Stanley Cup champions, that this is where we would be?
This is what I expect now.
Is this what you expect?
It's been, how many games into the season are we?
31.
31. It's been 31 games of this. It hasn't been a positive season for Steve Dangle.
It hasn't been a positive couple seasons for Steve Dangle.
No, but at least last year, it was like, okay, they locked up a playoff spot by January.
Yeah,
Now let's just bitch about the coach not playing correctly.
Yeah.
And then eventually that got sorted out a couple weeks ago. But this season, it's been just so many things on top of so many things that even when they beat the defending Stanley Cup champions in a great win, everybody looked great, except kind of Morgan Riley defensively, but whatever.
And Travis Dermott, let's be honest.
And CeCe got in the way of that Marner pass that led to a goal, but whatever. But anyways, they won 5-2, and I expect you to be upset because it hasn't been a very positive fall.
I don't know. I don't know. I spend too much time on Twitter. It's poison.
Oh, Twitter? It's terrible.
It's literally brain shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's every time you look at your phone, you're just dumping shit into your brain. It's brain shit, and it's clearly not good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And, I'm some loudmouth. They'll give a microphone to everybody. I'm fat now, too. We can add that to the resume.
That's all right, man. I've been fat for years.
Yeah, well...
It's always nice, when like
I've always been walking the fence,
and I know I'm not kidding you. I've seen people talk about body positivity and then tell me I have dad bod, and it's like, okay, all right, listen, I do, but it's quite funny. So you know what? Well, you know what you got to do?
What? Be less fat. I'm working on it.
Not fucking go on.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't go on during games anymore. I don't know about you.
No.
Like it's rare.
I'm usually doing something else, and then the game is just on, and then I'm kind of in the living room and it's on. I'm watching.
I'm enjoying a lot more now that I'm off it too, because I'm watching a lot more of the game than I am like, I got this sick Twitter thing. I'm gonna say
everyone needs to know my smart thought.
I check it during the commercial breaks, and if you're a reporter or whatever, you're a fan, you do what you want. But I just feel like sometimes for me, I'm gonna save a lot more of my ammo for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's just better placement for it.
Yeah, because I don't have enough outlets to
I know,
what's wrong with me? Why do I ever go on?
Well, it's clearly not serving you.
Other than to tweet my stuff, just to pull the pin on the grenade and huck it into the
Steve,
battlefield.
You could be living generously, and life could be treating you royally. Right now.
If we had a Crown Royal.
If we did.
Yeah.
And I mean, what if I were to say, Steve, why don't you come over to my house and I will pour you a Crown Royal? What would you say to that?
I'd say, well, let me think. I don't have that to do. You know what? Why not?
Right.
Why not go to my friend Adam's house and we could...
It wouldn't even be a barbecue. It would just be hanging out. Right, Jesse?
It would be a meeting. It would be a meeting.
If the three of us were there, it's definitely not a hangout.
Oh, it could be.
Really?
It could turn into one eventually, but it'd be a meeting.
Fair.
Okay, fair. Let's get into who wore the crown last night. Steve Dangle. I guess it's not Wes McCauley or Troy Brower for Steve. So now we got St. Louis fans in his mentions.
No.
That's not all St. Louis fans.
No,
Nobody
it's not,
please
and
don't
we
get
have
upset.
To say that every time. Friggin' Matthews. He needed to score badly, so I'll give it to him.
Okay, 18 goals. Not bad.
He's dying for a goal.
Starve for a goal.
What?
What
are they
going
going to
50 goal pace?
I hated how the broadcast took that as a narrative all game long, and then post game it's like, he finally did it.
You know what though? Kelly Rudy dismissed that like right off the top of the
But
broadcast.
nobody was giving it to him.
No, but like Rudy was literally like, no, he's gonna score tonight. So anyway,
Yeah.
and moved on.
But then Burt came back and he's like, I think he needs a goal and needs to shoot more.
That was shoot more.
Brian wasn't looking at the stats. You guys know that.
Why would
Brian's not going to. Brian's not going to look at. Do you think that Brian? Sorry, do you think that Brian Burke is going to look up shots per game? Do you ever? No, he's just going to say TV shit. And you know what your uncle and your dad are going to do? Yeah, Brian, I agree. I haven't seen him shoot either.
Yeah.
It's great.
You know what? Stop shitting on my network.
Oh, man, no. I have nothing if not complimentary of Brian Burke. I think he's doing a phenomenal job.
Talk shit about it.
Has he ever been on though? Have you ever had him on?
Yeah, he was on Ice Surfer once last year. Yeah, I didn't talk.
You didn't talk?
No.
Why?
I rarely talked during the interviews.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't
That's a shame. You're a good interviewer.
know. I don't know. Sometimes I got to ask Edge a question, the wrestler.
Oh, that's cool.
He was on. I was like, "Hi, Edge." I didn't know what to call him.
Mr. Edge, sir.
Mr. Edge, man.
His real name's I think it's like Adam Copeland.
It
or
is
something,
Adam
so I was just like,
Copeland. Well done.
Edge. Hello.
He's one of my favorite childhood wrestlers.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah,
Edge and Christian were amazing.
The spear?
Oh.
And you know what it is? You know what's so important? The hair.
Yeah, the
hair-
long, blonde, flowing hair.
That it goes just everywhere with the impact.
And he's Canadian.
Got a strong
right?
jaw, too. Really strong fucking jaw.
And like an evil villain looking face.
Yeah.
You know what? My crown goes to Edge.
No, you've already given it away. No.
I want to give it to Adam Copeland.
What are you looking up right now?
I am trying to look up an excellent stat by the actual Sportsnet stats crew because
They are
actually
worth
do their
following.
jobs.
They are worth going on Twitter to follow.
Yeah,
I think you need to follow less bullshit.
Yes. I ran over my phone?
You ran over to your phone.
Oh,
in the middle
yes,
of the
yes,
show.
sorry.
Yes.
So this is from Dave Amber. This is an incredible stat courtesy of Statman Stan Narodka, who you can see every Tuesday on ice surfing. The Bruins lost tonight because I guess they lost to Colorado. Mm-hmm. The Bruins lost tonight is the first loss in regulation at home for any of the four major Boston sports teams since the Red Sox lost to the Orioles on September 28th.
What?
Say that one more time.
The Bruins loss tonight is the first loss in regulation at home for any of the four major Boston sports teams since the Red Sox lost to the Orioles on September 28th.
Because the Patriots and the Celtics are perfect at home right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, and to add to that, someone said, hey, you didn't include the NWHL's Boston Pride, who are 11-0.
Oh, no way. Yes. That's crazy.
That is unbelievable.
Wild. So basically, if you cheer for a Boston team and you go to a home game, they're going to win. It's freaking,
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, if only those seats were comfortable.
If only
And somebody wasn't getting mustard on your coat.
someone... No, someone actually tweeted me. They're like, hey, look at me. I'm up here in the gondola and I got tons of leg room. These weren't the seats that were worked on, but don't let that get in the way.
That's
some
funny.
Twitter's good.
Yeah, of course. Now,
Some of it's good.
I found Boston is far more cordial this year because it's almost like unfair for them now. Like, it's not even a competition. It's like, they're like, we know we're better, and we're not competing with you anymore, so...
They almost look like...
It's like them versus Washington. Those are the two best teams in the East.
They look how they did after the 2011 Cup win. They won something like 15 straight games early in
we do have to get back to who wore the crown here, just so we're clear. But
anyway, I was just like, who the hell is going to beat this team? And the answer was Joel Ward in the Washington Capitals.
So I'm giving the crown to Jason Spezza. And it's not because Jason Spezza. This is a crown that goes over several weeks, but this is a crown that is long. I think I maybe have given him one before. Last night he made some dangerous passes. Sometimes you like to see him make better decisions, like the other night.
He's in the box too much, though.
He is in the box too much. However, the guy's like, what, 37?
Yeah.
He's got 7 points in the last 9 games.
Dude, he's a good player. He's a good offensive player.
This is a guy that they were going to lose. They were going to he was going to be in Winnipeg.
If Marner didn't hurt himself, he'd be a Jet right now.
Yeah. And instead, we have Nick Shore. They have Nick Shore, and we have Jason Spezza.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Nick Shore, who might have 7 points all season once it's all said and done. Jason Spezza, who's got 7 in the last 9. And listen, you could say that, well, Jason Spezza is a bit of a problem in his own end. He has always been a bit of a problem in his own end. Yeah. We knew that. It's not going to change now.
He's not getting better at age 40.
Yeah, but he wasn't in the Selke conversation, really.
But what we have is a guy that's playing 12 to 14 minutes and producing points at almost a point a game in the last 10.
A guy who can fire a bomb from the point on the second power play.
Yes, who makes the second power play unit look good, which it hasn't in 24 months. Yep. It's crazy. So my crown goes to Jason Spezza. I don't know if this keeps up. Sure hope it does, but if it doesn't, man, who cares? This has been an awesome run.
Well, and to go with that, Matthews really needed one. Spezza cost them the game.
Yeah.
Against Colorado.
Yeah.
Away.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so good for him.
But they played a good game there. Jesse?
Yeah.
You guys, we have a new all-time leader on our hands.
Pontus Åberg.
Nope. Also, we have another Kasky Suo on our hands. It's Åberg, Åberg.
Okay.
Pick one, broadcast.
Åberg is the most wrong. Åberg is the second most wrong. Mm-hmm. And Åberg is the least wrong. They're all wrong. It's like Åberg.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
But the second you hear that, your North American brain goes, yeah, nope, not going to say that.
I'm not saying that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
anyways.
I say Åberg. Because it's the closest to right I'm getting.
Okay.
Shout out, hey, my name is David.
Hi, David.
On Twitter. As David rightly points out, last night we have a new crown of wearing the number 88.
Okay.
William Nylander, with his assist on Matthews' goal tonight, is now the highest scoring Maple Leaf to ever wear 88.
Hey!
In 3 games less than Leafs legend and Hall of Famer Eric Lindros.
Hey!
That's why he deserves the crown.
Only 3 games less. Lindros was a good Leaf.
Man, it was really good.
Yeah, not as good as the guy who's currently wearing 88.
Apparently not.
No.
Apparently
And that's
not.
why William Nylander wears the crown this week. Thank you, David.
And that's who wore the crown for this week. Brought to you as always by Crown Royal. Next time the puck drops, why not?
Cam, why not of the Halifax Mooseheads?
Live generously and treat your Leafs crew to a Crown Royal Old Fashioned. Yeah, I got that about 80 times in my
Everybody
day.
keeps tweeting
Just
them.
in case you guys.
Seen the guess?
The guy's last name is why not?
His name!
That's the thing you say.
Cam Why Not is already funnier than Wes McCauley. Like
Cameron Why Not, by the way, is a player for who? The Mooseheads?
the Halifax Mooseheads.
Yeah.
And so once that, for some reason this week, that became a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why this week, because he's been there for a bit. But for
Did
some
they play
reason,
on Sportsnet or something? I don't know.
maybe they had a game that was
Yeah.
broadcast, but he's been there all season, and
Maybe
yet
he made a
people
rankings
started
list.
sending him this week. Somebody actually sent it to me a few weeks ago because they drafted him because of our segment in NHL.
Amazing.
That's why they drafted him.
Why not? Up the ice to Smallwood. Score! Like, that's all I want in my life.
And you know what? It would suck if just people kept continuing to spam Steve with it.
Oh,
no.
The guy who clearly loves Twitter. It'd suck if his Twitter was filled up with Cameron Why Not.
especially during ice surfing.
Nice podcast! Why not? Check out this prospect, you fat bastard! Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your kindness.
Well, listen. The Leafs chased Jordan Bennington for the first time in his career. Eight shots, 4 goals. Matthews, Hyman, Spets are right off the top. And here's the thing.
And Hyman again.
There seems to be, and Hyman again, yeah. But what seems to be happening here is that there's a progression that you've seen in the last 3 weeks, and every week you can say for sure the results maybe haven't been there in a couple games, but even the Philadelphia game right up until the last 4 minutes was tight, and this team seems to be taking steps forward, and you can see it.
Yes,
they need to start getting results now. Like, now it's not about the process anymore. Now it's about the results.
They're holding themselves to a higher standard too.
It seems that way.
Like that after the Philadelphia game, I know people were sort of nauseous with, Matthews going, like we folded. Like, no, you folded. But like he seemed genuinely upset with himself.
Yeah.
And the team did too.
Yeah.
So
what I've been finding is very interesting is how active the defense is in the offensive zone. And what's been so cool about that is they have the defense that's set up for that, especially with guys like Morgan Rielly and Travis Dermott and Tyson Barrie that can do that. They've got the legs to do it. And, with the exception of that random breakaway that Tyler Bozak had midway through the third yesterday, I don't even know how that happened.
I think it was just a planned play where they sent this crazy Hail Mary pass through the air.
It was cool.
Yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it definitely looked like a planned play.
Yeah. It only works with Kapanen. Stop it.
But they look really good, and they seem to be challenging. They seem to be challenging through the neutral zone a lot. And one of the things that I've noticed, and I'm not sure if you guys are seeing this, and this is super niche, but shorthanded. They've been amazing shorthanded. And I think the penalty kill has been, since Keefe took over, 90%. 18 for 20. By the way, their new power play, 42%. Under Keefe.
I feel like that might not last.
I hope it does. Whatever. It's
Me
still
too.
It's 42%. It's great.
Right.
And they needed that. What I want to say is what I found interesting is when St. Louis entered the zone on the shorthanded. There was a couple times this happened, and I think one of them led to the turnover for Hyman. You're seeing the Leafs take away the advantage because you'll have 4 Leaf players on the 4 St. Louis players. Say it's on the left side of the ice, all 4 Leaf players will be over. And you might say, well, that leaves a guy open and it's dangerous. And yes, I would agree. However, all the passing lanes are gone too. So you've eliminated the advantage of the one man up because you got every man covered, including the puck carrier. And if the puck somehow does skirt through to the other person, which would be difficult with all the legs and bodies, Freddie Anderson's got a clear look at him. So it's a really interesting, I don't know, it's something they've done a couple times. I'm not sure if it's by mistake, but it seemed to be working really well.
No, it's a great observation, Adam, and what I am continually mind blown by, at least over the past couple of weeks, is we had all these theories about Mike Babcock as a coach. Like, I'm talking long before he was fired, before the Mitch Marner story came out, like before this season even. Talking in the summer, last season, the season before. We had all these theories about how stubborn Mike Babcock was and how controlling he was. And I'm blown away by the idea that we might have been underselling it.
Yeah.
The power play looks totally different. Like, forget the fact that the puck's going in. That's great. It's going to happen. They are playing completely different. The penalty kill is playing completely different. At 5-on-5, it's like watching a brand new team. It's like they just gave them the jerseys and it's a completely different team. So, we got to look at Hackstall and we got to look at McFarland, a couple things that we called for. It almost looks like they're finally being allowed to do their jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
yeah,
the penalty kill especially.
Makes you question how hard we were on Hiller and DJ Smith, too.
It absolutely makes me question how hard we were on
Hiller
and DJ
we
Smith.
didn't know any better at that point, right?
Yeah.
What are you supposed to go on?
The power play sucks. This is all Hiller's fault. And DJ Smith is having some success with the Sens as well.
Yep.
We were man, I didn't realize how bad it was under Babcock.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and they got three goals last night from one from shorthanded, 2 from power play. Their special teams were a real issue, and that was one of the major reasons they weren't winning games at the beginning of the season. And now, listen, they're not out of the woods on any of this. But the fact is, if you look at the standings right now, they are 5th in the division. But if they had won one more game this season, And by the way, Florida's played more games than the Leafs have played more games than Florida. But even so, of the 31 that the Leafs have played, if they'd won one more, they'd be tied with Florida.
There you go. Yeah, it's still tight.
Point
and
wise.
like in the playoffs, you hopefully use one goalie.
Mm-hmm.
The Leafs' points percentage with Freddie is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're great. Yeah. They're easily in the playoffs if you just consider Freddie's record. But, they were hammering it on the broadcast, and they certainly weren't wrong. The Leafs friggin' need points from their backup.
Did you see that graphic about the backup goalie points?
Yeah.
And I think it was like 42.
It's pretty damning.
42 for the playoff seeds in last year's Eastern Conference, and then they go down to the Leafs, and they're in last place in like 21. And then this year they're sitting on 1.
One. Yeah, they were last place, and it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Right.
I really don't know how they're going to. I wonder if they really make a legitimate move. Like if you've got. Because Engvall's looking good. Mikheyev's looking good.
Yep. You do not get rid of Engvall.
No, I don't think you do. I wonder, who's on the left side for them?
Engvall? Okay. Of all the non-Andreas Janssen guys on the left,
Yeah.
there's Hyman, who I almost don't really count in there because he's a righty, sometimes plays on the right, and he's also got a solid spot in the lineup. Out of Engvall, Mikheyev, Moore, Timashov, and Patan.
Well, Patan's listed as a right.
That's fine. But, sometimes because he's
doesn't matter.
left hand. I think I rank Engvall ahead of Mikheyev.
Do you?
I love him. I love that player, man. And I like Mikheyev too. But there's... Part of me wonders if that's a still getting used to North American ice thing. He's got a brand new coach. Justin Bourne made this point, how do you explain the new systems to him? Does anyone on the bench... There are guys on the team who know Russian, and Timashov supposedly knows Russian and can help him out in practice. No one's there helping him on the bench.
No.
Unless you get an interpreter. So I find... watch for this next game. I find there's so many plays where Mikheyev is in the right spot and he uses his speed to get out of trouble, but he's standing completely still.
Right. Is he not sure where to go?
He gets confused. Engvall is... Dude, when Trevor Moore comes back, you can't take Engvall out of the lineup.
Well, then, I know Andreas Janssen, is injured for a bit. Right, so they're going to reevaluate him.
At least 10 games.
And my only thing with all the guys you listed is that they all make under $1 million, and I would like to see a backup goalie come in here who is decently paid because that's his performance. I don't want to see them take out another flyer on a guy who's making $925,000. Yeah. And it'd be like, okay, we'll see what we got.
Yeah, they don't have time to experiment anymore.
No, it's okay. Get a guy who's being paid $3 million because he has a 915. You know
who's having a great season? He's got a 918 save percentage, and it would have been great if you could have got him on salary retained. James Reimer. Dude, he's a 918! Don't laugh at me! That's good!
You wouldn't have to trade a roster player for that.
Been here, done that.
Shut up.
It would kind of be fun to see him back.
You don't go back to your ex.
Yes, you do. What if it's the right decision to go back to... Shut up. I love James. And now he's...
Somebody floated a Georgiev for Janssen trade.
Why would the Rangers do that?
That's what So apparently, I read the replies, and I don't know this. Apparently, the Rangers have somebody else in their pipeline that they want to have a look at, and Georgiev will not... He'll be waiver exempt, I think, until next season, and that's it. So, but he's still, you could still do it, but they're not going to deal Hank.
So he's waiver exempt now.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
So there's absolutely no incentive to trade him.
Well, unless you got a guy on a good cost-controlled deal like Andreas Janssen, who would legitimately help the Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a pretty steep price for Georgiev, whose numbers aren't even that good. Other than...
Well, he's a 918 or something?
And you have
that's
to pay.
James Reimer, damn it.
And you have to pay a steep price if you're looking for a goalie, I assume.
Probably, well...
everybody knows the Leafs wants a goalie.
Of course.
You can't hide it.
Yeah, I can't remember who said it, but, the Leafs should be calling Pittsburgh, and then someone goes, why would Pittsburgh do that?
Yeah,
exactly. Why is anybody going to help out the Leafs?
Well, anyone in the East, right?
Georgiev has played 13 games. He's got a .290 goals against average and a .919 save percentage.
Nice.
Oh!
12-7. Sorry, 7-5, excuse me.
I don't know why I thought he was barely
No, he's been really good.
9. Oh, okay.
He's been really good. That's a guy, because here's the thing. If you're going to flip Janssen or X player.
I'm open to it.
Well, it doesn't Engvall being as good as he's been now. Åberg, we don't know, or Åberg, or whatever you say. You got Hyman. You got Mikheyev. You got Engvall in the top three.
Agostino in the minors.
Agostino in the minors. What else do you have at left wing beyond those guys, though? What happens if two of those guys go down?
Yeah, I'm open.
Because Andreas Janssen doesn't seem to be able to find a spot in this lineup.
No.
So he seems like a natural, and he makes enough. What is it, $3 million? That it's enough that it's like, okay, so you got value, and there's a valuable player there, and everybody knows it. And it's sort of like, okay, what do we do with this guy? Do we keep trying to pigeonhole him next to Matthews and Nylander, which isn't working?
I don't like it that much.
Is Kerfoot a guy you look at moving?
Kerfoot's the guy who I keep trying to convince myself to deal, and is scoring at the amount of money he's making, which is over 3, is terrible. But now who's your third center? Don't say Spezza. That's a bad answer. You know what I mean?
Frederick Gauthier.
I don't mind Kerfoot.
I don't mind him either, but like you gotta give something to get something.
And he's also underperforming.
Sure.
Yeah, I think he's underperforming. His face
So is
is
Janssen,
messed
though.
up.
Yes.
Yeah, Janssen, I thought his numbers were better than they are.
I think with Janssen, you could sell a little bit of, well, we kind of know where he's going based on last year. And there's a little bit of he's still young and he's cost controlled. And I think that's attractive to a team like I'm using the Rangers as an example. It doesn't have to be the Rangers. And
the Rangers, the Penguins.
Whoever else.
The Kings are another one. Oh, let's get Jack Campbell.
Why would we? Really? Jack Campbell doesn't get me excited.
You know what I was looking at is Michael Hutchison last year and how he's actually stopped pucks. Like he's got, off the top of my head, I think his career NHL record in 118 games is 46, 48, and 14. He's won NHL games. He can do this. So how do we help him do this? I think right now the best option for the Leafs is Michael Hutchison wins games.
Yeah,
I don't know how that happens.
But
how many times are we gonna do this?
They're gonna do it at least one more time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, will your Christmas tree that you haven't put up yet have been taken down by the time Michael Hutchison gets his first win this season?
When's the next back-to-back? They have none in January.
That's good. Supposedly, I think they have 2 more in December. They supposedly want to get him into one of the games on the Western road trip. And I'm looking at
the one they're currently on.
Yeah, the Canadian road trip.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the Vancouver,
Calgary?
And I'm looking at those teams like, who?
Why? Why do you want to put them again?
Not
They're all
Edmonton because
Nope.
McDavid and
Winnipeg.
No, they're not playing Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's not.
They're not playing.
It's the Canucks on Tuesday. I think the Flames on Thursday and the Oilers on Saturday.
Oof.
None of those are good options. And like Calgary exploded last night after being down 2-0. So like, I don't know which team I'd pick there. And then like the Leafs got Detroit coming up. Oh, that's good. Oh, it's second half of a back-to-back. But it's Detroit. So like, now I'm looking at it and going, ooh, it's Detroit, who is not even an NHL team right now, but second half of a back-to-back. I don't know if he can do it. It's not a great
Yeah,
feel.
Also, you're against starting your backup on Saturday night, right? Which is the Detroit game.
I just don't like it, but I mean, it's the last place team in the league. You should start your backup.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you'd be silly not to. The Nylander Matthews Åberg line was pretty amazing last night. I thought they were pretty strong. Yep. And Åberg's got a lot of strikes against him in his career due to he had the poor work ethic, poor defensive coverage, that sort of thing.
Is what I've heard.
Yeah, and
worked his ass off.
He did, and he worked his ass off to get back. Now here's a question. He is now playing with 2 of the most talented players in the league. And I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. And this isn't a direct comparison. But if you're playing with guys that are this good, all your cards are on the table, you give everything, right? If you're playing third line and you're like, whatever, maybe you're not going to give it all. But I feel like he's got to look at this the way Zach Kassian looks at his role with McDavid and Draisaitl, which is just do whatever the fuck they want.
Yep. He created the turnover that led to the first Matthews goal.
He did. Mm-hmm. And it's more stuff like that because that's the stuff Leafs management loves.
Oh yeah,
they love those little things. That's why they fell in love with Zach Hyman 4 years ago with the Marlies.
And now look at Zach Hyman though.
Exactly. So they obviously looked at Åberg and said, you can do this, but you need to be doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
And Keefe worked with him with the Marlies, understands probably a little bit better than most guys how he is or how he's going to be or this new attitude that he has. He's got a daughter at home he's got to support. That all came out. And I'm not saying that McDavid and Draisaitl are the same as Matthews and Nylander because there's obviously a talent chasm there, or at least
I'll say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not the same.
McDavid and Draisaitl better.
Are as good as William Nylander.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah.
It's true.
Out of those 4 guys,
But it's a similar
Willie's sitting at the top.
It's a similar setup, whereas you've got 2 play drivers, and then you got a guy who's just there and plays a role.
Yeah.
And if Åberg can be the guy who's just there and plays a role, that's a really great get for the Leafs, and it's a really great get for him. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. What a sweet gig. And I got to imagine he signed a 1-year deal.
Yep.
So, dude, you could ride this to, 10 goals, or even if you find a way to, become like a half a point a game sort of player, you could ride that to a couple mil.
Yeah.
You kidding?
RFA.
sure.
So he's still.
Is he that young still?
He's 26, but Leafs have his rights. So
Oh, he
RFA.
was non-tendered.
Yeah.
That's why he was a
Interesting.
free agent. Interesting.
Interesting.
Tavares, Hyman, and Marner look great. 31 games to get them back together, and now they actually look like a line. And I wouldn't have expected this.
Right when they were going to break him up?
Yeah. But they looked really good. Marner looked really good. I thought he was good on the penalty kill.
Hasn't missed a step.
No.
No.
But it's amazing, and not enough's made of this. Zach Hyman was out for 6 months. He came back and was instantly one of their best players.
Oh.
That is really special.
Absolutely. And I think it speaks to the Leafs medical staff that both Hyman and Marner look so good. And Dermott, too. I think any of the mistakes he's made have been between the years and not his physical ability. But remember Hyman scored against Colorado and he waved? He was waving at someone high up. Supposedly he was waving at 2 people, I forget their names, who basically helped him through his knee injury recovery.
Oh, wow.
And they said if you score a goal at home, you got to wave at us. So
that's
really
awesome.
cool, right?
I love that.
It's the kind of person Zach Hyman is. I love him.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool.
He's having a big couple games too, and you can see like in every goal celebration, like this means a lot to him, and he's fighting for his spot on this team. Like I liked the idea of putting him on that third line. What was it? Him, Kerfoot, Kapanen, something like that.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare of a third line to deal with, and it could line match and et cetera, et cetera. But you don't want to lose your gig on the top line.
No.
Come on. No, you don't want to lose that gig, and he gets 2 goals out of it.
Yeah. He's already got 5.
He's already got 5.
Zach Fiveman.
Oh,
Yes,
whoa.
that's what they call him. 3 in his last 2 games.
Man,
He's a good player, man.
have you guys looked at the standings lately?
No.
Yes.
Okay. So it's really interesting because
The team that no one's talking about is running away with the Eastern Conference, Washington.
Washington, who were apparently wobbly to start the season somehow,
Well, that's what I
22, 4, and 5.
It's crazy.
What?
And here's the thing. Boston, 24 and 6. They're only 3 points behind Washington.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
And then you got the Islanders at 19, 7, and 2
How many points are Boston up on Florida?
for the second place.
Yeah.
Florida, who has no goaltending and somehow are still second in the weak Atlantic all of a sudden.
It's really weak.
They are 13 points up on Florida.
What? They're
50
13 points up on the next closest team in the division?
Yeah, Washington's 9 points up on the Islanders, who are next closest.
Oh, my God.
Running away. And here's the thing, the Metro Division
Wow.
is so strong that you've got Pittsburgh and Carolina in the wild card spots right now. The next team after Carolina holds 8th. The next team after Carolina is Montreal. What's the point differential?
I'm going to say Carolina is 8 points up on them.
5.
Ooh, that's still a lot.
Still a lot. Tough to make up. If this was the NBA and it's just wins and losses, that's one thing. But in the NHL, because of overtime losses, it's a lot harder to make up 5 points. And so...
Well, and here's this damn playoff format.
Yeah.
So if the playoffs started today, the Bruins would be playing the Hurricanes.
yeah. And
They
honestly,
deserve to be playing a weaker opponent than that. They've earned it.
No,
Yeah.
because it'd be what would it be? The 5th seed is now the 8th seed, and the 6th seed is now No, the 5th seed is now the 7th seed, and the 6th seed is now the 8th seed.
Yeah.
Who is the
because
least
of
points?
The ridiculous outline.
Who has the least points of all the Eastern playoff teams?
Buffalo. And they would be the 6th seed.
That is absolutely who Boston should be playing.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like the fact that if the
Or
Leafs can just
17, sorry.
leapfrog and get into second or third, they're not going to play Boston.
Can you imagine
Could
they get a
just-
wild card and they still have to play
Yeah.
them?
Oh my God. No. Well, they won't. They won't get in the wild card. The wild card's too high.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
Metro
right.
will dominate the wild card this year. If things continue on, 5 Metro teams will make it. 3 Atlantic teams will make it.
It's
So
the
it'd be so
Atlantic
great-
is what I expected the Metro to be.
Agreed.
I thought the Metro was going to be jump ball.
Agreed.
And the
Even
sucky
Pittsburgh.
teams still suck, and the good teams are still good,
Pittsburgh's 17-9.
and they very should not be. Goaltending's been spotty.
wanna
Guys have
trade-
been injured.
And they're going to trade Gelch when he comes back off of IR,
Yeah.
Oh,
according to headline. According to
I feel
Chris
bad for
Johnson.
Gelch. It's like
Yeah.
he just can't stick it with any team. He's not good enough to be like a top guy, but he's not the type of player you want on your lower end for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
no,
He seems like a guy who's like perfectly geared to go to the KHL and make a boatload of cash.
well.
Not that he can't score 30 goals. We know he can.
There are miracle stories. I was talking to producer Drew from Sportsnet about one. He's an Avalanche fan. And he texts me. He's like, "Dude, you guys woke up Nichushkin because he scored again.
I know.
He scored again. The choo-choo train, man. He had all the tools. He was big. He was fast. He had some skill. He was picked like 10th overall.
Nothing.
Never
But
put
I-
anything together.
I'm
And
sur-
he's finally hitting it.
I'm surprised when they made that trade that it didn't work out for him, because if he's the third line center after Crosby and Malkin, it's like, how is he not set up to succeed?
Is that what he was playing? Because they got Jared McCann too.
Right. I believe he was in third line center for
Oh.
when he was healthy. Yeah, but he had 2 goals, 8 assists in 21 games.
He's just
I don't
never
know.
better than his competition. You know, you keep putting him in. We're talking about Alex Galchenyuk the way we talk about Nick Patan. Like, it's not a good situation for him. Ah, poor guy.
Yeah.
Well, and what's Pittsburgh even going to get? That's tough.
Yeah, the Leafs are now 5 points out of the wild card, but only 2 out of the second place in their division. The NHL's goofy. But
God.
if the Leafs can just get into those second and third spots and have it locked down by February, hopefully. Yeah. And I here's the thing. How long do we really think Tampa's not going to put this together?
I don't know.
Could be all season.
I don't know.
Guys, I
Did
don't
I
know.
nail it or did I nail
No,
it?
hockey's weird like that.
Hockey is definitely weird like that.
Here's
They might
here's
have an
why-
off season.
Can I tell you why I think this is not going to last?
Why?
I look at the Leafs goal differential right now. It's -3. They got 100 goals for, 103 goals against.
Oh, good.
You look at Tampa, it's plus 15.
What?
They have 102 goals for and 87 goals against.
Jesus, they must have really killed a few teams. I know they killed the Leafs that one time.
I think Tampa's, I don't know. And not just basing it on that. I don't know. I can't psychologically see. First, does John Cooper keep his job through the whole year if they continue to play like this?
He's currently the longest tenured coach in the NHL.
Is it really?
Yep.
How many years?
Since 2013.
That's a long time. That's
Yeah.
a really long time.
For an NHL
Now,
coach.
and
for
you
sure.
said that there were rumors about players not liking him.
Yeah, oh yeah. They've been around for years. Been around.
If
not-
they miss the
at least
playoffs,
3
he's
years.
fired.
It's
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
If they're out of a playoff spot come February, you fire him.
Yes.
Your first
But is
round,
it too late at that point?
a little bit, yeah, maybe even earlier. Maybe it's January.
But I guess after 7 years, you got to give him a break.
you
right?
got to give him a
time.
little bit of time. But if you get knocked out of the first round like that after being one of the best teams we've seen in like this decade,
Yep.
and then you come back the next season, you're not in a playoff spot, you're done.
I'm telling you,
Forget
man.
that.
You lose the way they lost, and they really didn't change the team a whole lot. I don't know how you look across the dressing room at all the guys you were with the same way.
No.
And I don't think they are. I don't know, but like you said, plus 15, they might wake up the monster.
I feel like it's kind of like the Islanders year. What was it last year when we kept being like, the Islanders aren't this good. The Islanders aren't this good. They're missing everybody.
they are.
Tampa's not this bad.
And then
Tampa's
I
not-
think this year we're gonna be like, Tampa's not this bad. Tampa's not this bad, and then they might be. I don't know.
Maybe
Guess
they
it.
are.
That would be a hell of a story. And it's not one that's been talked about enough.
Yeah, somebody's going to do a long piece in The Athletic about it.
Yeah.
Great.
Just transfer Michael Russo to Tampa for like 10 minutes to find out
Yeah.
what's going on, and then he'll do another expose.
Minnesota, who's won 5 straight games and are like, it's like 8 of their last 11 or something ridiculous. They're on fire.
For everyone who's worried about your respective team, whether it's the Leafs or otherwise, Minnesota has won 5 straight.
Insane.
Maybe it's you next.
Still not in a playoff spot.
Yeah. Also, do yourself a favor. Yeah, don't check the standings till January 1st, I would say.
Oh, I look at them. It's
Yeah,
fine.
me too.
Or if
you're hosting
a
a
stable
podcast-
enough human being.
If you're hosting a podcast, I would recommend checking them from time to time.
Yeah, all right, fair.
It's important to know.
Yeah, you listen in there, Biz and Wit.
Oh yeah, let's give them advice.
And Don, he's a rival now.
Oh, is he?
Don Sherry.
Yeah.
Oh, is it rival?
Yeah.
Are there podcasting rivals?
Oh, yeah.
Can you think
It's a war.
You know what? That's you listen here, Don. That was ASMR for you there, Jesse.
Don't like that.
Don't come for the title. Actually, you probably I don't know.
He'd be like, "Who the hell are you guys?"
You gave me cookies once.
Did you know Biz listens to every episode of the Steve Dangle podcast?
I don't
does.
believe he does.
He does. Every single episode. He said it.
The only thing I've ever heard him say about me is that I love my job. He's like, he loves his job.
That sounds like a compliment.
I don't know. It also sounds like it could not be. So
I don't see why he would insult you.
Yeah. He listens to every
You
episode.
got a pretty sweet gig.
it's true. It's true.
Like,
I mean, I do have a pretty sweet gig. It's true.
What? Like, and Biz doesn't like his job?
right?
Biz got a pretty sweet gig.
He's got a
a
pretty great
better
gig.
gig now than when he was in the NHL.
Oh,
He'd
yeah.
probably tell you that.
Way better.
Yeah. He
There's
was on
nothing
the
wrong
ice
with that.
With
It's
Evgeny
great.
Malkin for 7 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Man, whatever. I think my favorite rivalry, and I don't think there's a better rivalry in the NHL right now than Drew Doughty versus the entire city of Calgary. It's just
It's evolved, right?
It's not.
It's not Doughty Tkachuk anymore.
No, it's just Calgary. And he said I don't like playing in Calgary, but I do like winning there.
Oh. Careful, Wes! You're gonna lose your job.
So the Flames go down early, 2 quick Kings goals, including one by Doughty, and he loves to go over to the board and smack the board.
Yeah. And says, "I'm Drew Doughty."
But obviously the
That's what he
Flames
says.
the Flames exploded for 4. And I found it was they are undefeated under interim head coach.
Interesting. And
There's
that
another
not
guy-
another one?
Well, it's funny because Bill Peters needed to be fired anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's what we're slowly learning.
Like Brad Treliving.
We were right. We just didn't know why.
right.
Oh, we were right for that reason too. We were right for the original reason, but there was a
Not a good hockey
there
coach?
was a way not a good hockey coach, but there was also a way worse reason that nobody knew about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he needed to go. And it's funny because I kept saying Leafs and Flames, they're the same team. They're just in different conferences. And look at the teams. And the Flames are a much better example of a good coaching change than the Leafs are right now. Flames are 4-0 with this guy.
The Flames won their
Jeff
freaking
Ward, his name.
division
Jeff Ward.
last year.
I don't. Yeah, I know. I know. That's what I'm saying.
There's, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get. And there's another team like, well, I was about to say they didn't make big changes. James Neal for Milan Lucic was pretty big, and also, oh shit, the Leafs going on the road to Western Canada because at the moment, Milan Lucic cannot be stopped. You can only hope to contain him.
Because
Back-to-back games.
I heard a commentator.
Back-to-back games.
I heard a commentator say, "Finally, they've put Milan Lucic with the guy he needs, a right-handed centerman."
I did hear that as well.
And I
on
was
the
like,
broadcast.
"What?" And I'm like, "Who's the right-handed centerman?" They're like, "Derek Ryan." I'm like,
Ooh.
"Oh, so Derek Ryan was the answer to Derek Ryan, who we were hoping would sign with the Leafs and be their 4th-line center. That's the guy that we think." It's because he's right-handed.
That's what he had in Boston, you know?
He had a right-handed shot.
He's got that again.
Yeah, well, because they got Bergeron Krejci. Is that what they're trying to? What?
It was bizarre.
I don't know about that.
But he has got a couple of good garbage goals. That's got to feel good for him.
It's all goals.
Goals are goals.
It's all-
No, I'm not. I'm not diminishing. They're great.
One of the semantics that Merrick likes to rant about is when there's a review and they say good goal. No, hey, that's casting judgment. It's just a goal.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
right.
have a hockey goal.
Yeah, I feel like garbage goals are more described as how they went in rather than their quality. Does that make sense? So to me, a garbage goal is it just went in from early and you were just shoveling it. Doesn't mean that it's a bad goal because it's still a goal.
Matthews' little magnet ping pong goal.
It's a garbage goal.
The fifth goal. Is that a garbage goal or a skill goal?
Yeah.
That's a pinball goal.
Yeah.
Pinball goal.
It's a weird freaking goal.
It was weird.
Jake Allen, which is another thing. That guy invites voodoo.
Call that one a Clemens because it was a pinball.
Oh,
Hey.
only Toronto people will get that.
Yeah.
Hey, Argos.
There are people out west who understand that better than people from Toronto.
Yeah, probably. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned this, but Boston lost for the first time at home all season long last night. It was a 4-1 game, and Francouz, our boy Francouz, he replaced Grubauer. And at this point, we don't know, at least at the recording of this podcast, we don't know how long Grubauer is going to be out.
Or Makar.
That's his second injury this year, Grubauer. He was out for, 2 weeks earlier? Earlier in November, and then now he's out again, so...
And I got to say, for the small minority of people that had a look at the Cale Makar hit, which was leveled by Brad Marchand and said, that was dirty. No. Just because his name is Brad Marchand doesn't mean every hit he throws is dirty. That was a completely clean hit. It's just unfortunate that he happened to be injured by it.
Producer Drew was okay with it. That's my gauge.
Oh, he was okay with it?
Yeah, and he's an Avs fan, right? That's my gauge. And also, so they got Francouz and they got that Werner guy.
Mm-hmm.
But remember I was saying, the Leafs should maybe fish for Antoine Bibeau because the Avalanche have him. Supposedly he's out for the season now.
What happened?
I think it was his hip.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't remember exactly what the injury was, but supposedly he's out for the season. And they don't have Grubauer, so right now they're going it with, I think, Francouz and Werner.
Philly and Ottawa got a little testy. And
sure did.
So Philly wins, obviously, and you would expect. No offense, Ottawa, but you're not in it for the W's right now. Ottawa looks really good, much better than we could have thought.
Watchable.
Yes, watchable and fun.
World beaters.
So
you can do that with a head coach.
Scott Laughton confused me because what confused me about all this situation is obviously it had been going back and forth all game. Laughton scores at the end, kind of puts Ottawa away a little bit, and the game's over. But then as he is going to the bench, he yells a bunch of obscenities, probably at Tkachuk and, mostly Tkachuk because that's the guy.
Yep.
But yells it at the benches.
Also, Tkachuk's like 20.
I know. It's so weird. And then people are like, now, I'm not suggesting what Tkachuk did to Laughton later with the cross-check to the hip.
And the multiple punches.
Multiple punches to the head with 30 seconds to go. I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what did we expect? If you're going to yell shit like that at a bench with a player like that on the bench, you could yell shit like that at the Leafs bench, probably nothing will happen.
Right.
You might get hit by Jake Muzzin sometime in the future. But
John
nothing's...
Tavares might go.
Yeah. They'd probably they'd look at you stone faced and go, whatever. Their best defense is scoring another goal against you.
Yes.
But with a guy like Tkachuk, you know what you're signing yourself up for. So my question is, why court it? So yes, what Tkachuk did was bad. Mm-hmm. Sure, or bad enough. But at the same time, if I went and started insulting a bunch of heavy weightlifting guys who look a little aggressive, and one of them punched me, would you not say, "Hey, Adam, you could have avoided that situation by not provoking those guys"?
Listen, I'm not happy that the dog bit my kid, but in fairness, my kid was poking it with a stick.
Right? So that's the part that, I understand. People are like, well, that's an outsized response to what he did or whatever. Dude. Tkachuk is going to do that. He's going to do that. So in this situation, I'm glad nobody was injured, but I don't feel bad for Laughton. I don't.
No,
you asked for it, man.
It's one of those things
you courted
where I
it.
feel like, and this will be compared to the Brouwer thing, and I think it's totally different. It's one of those things where I feel like it ended about the way it should have. What was Laughton thinking? What was Tkachuk thinking? You still can't do that. So he got dinged with a fine. And most people go, ooh, yeah.
$5,000.
It's a shitty fine. But unless I'm mistaken, anything Tkachuk does from now on, he'll be a repeat offender.
Oh.
So it does ding him a bit. And I mean, so early in his career. And
that was going to happen, though. Come on.
It was going to happen, but now it's happened. So now that next time it happens, it's a suspension. Right? So I guess he pays for it that way.
I
You're
just
not
think,
convinced.
I just think it was like I'm sorry, but like, if you're gonna walk into oncoming traffic, don't be surprised when you get hit.
There were at least
Like, I don't-
symptoms.
Yes,
You could see it coming on the polygraph there.
Tkachuk does not do that if Laughton's not an asshole.
I mean,
Tkachuk's the Ottawa is playing.
damn, Adam.
Ottawa is playing for nothing but pride right now, and you went and you hurt their pride. That was a game they were in, and then you cursed it. The game was over. You could have said nothing. Nothing would have happened. But you started cursing them in their building out on their bench. No, you can't do that.
No.
Come on. Anyway,
I'm not surprised when players do stuff. I just expect it to be called accordingly. That's all.
sure.
Do you think it warranted a suspension though? Because
No.
No.
I
You see shit like that in front of the net all the time.
Yeah, but should you?
Right.
I guess is the
but
conversation, right?
I don't know. It's a little. I feel like it's a little different when it's just an open ice cross check to a guy who's not looking. That's
Yeah.
essentially what it was.
But it was to the hip. It wasn't even
That's
like.
fair, yeah.
I was
It wasn't to
less
the head. It
concerned-
wasn't like what Brouwer did to Dermott's face. Like
Yeah.
it was to the hip. And yes, listen, I'm not diminishing
hurts.
that it hurts. I get it.
Yeah.
But
I was
I'm
less
sorry,
concerned
but
with the cross check and more concerned with the repeated punches on the ground.
The hopping onto him.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you can't get in full mount. This isn't UFC.
He did.
yeah, and I think that's probably what he was fined for was the punches to the face.
Yeah. Whoa.
Sorry, didn't realize sound was on.
You know.
I don't know.
What you watching?
Scott Laughton.
I find this situation to be like, come on, Lawton, like smarten up. Like don't do that. You don't need to do that. That was shitty. That's rubbing salt in the wound. You're a good team. They're a bad team. You're winning because you're supposed to, and you're cursing out their bench. What do you expect? They've got nothing else to play for but pride. Nothing. They've known since the second they put on their skates for the first time that they were not making the playoffs this year, and you're doing that was shitty.
When's
and
the
not
next
enough
time-
attention is put on that. That is a shitty move.
When's the next time they play?
I don't know.
Also,
I would expect you to know that because
I
you're
know-
like hoggy shit.
I know Laughton was going at him. I have a theory.
Okay.
Tkachuk started it.
Oh, probably. but
Definitely.
but Laughton ended it. He scored.
Yeah.
It was over.
That's true.
Don't continue the shit.
Yeah, it's 2019. You're supposed to like tweet a passive aggressive emoji.
Yeah.
After you win. That's how it goes.
Or if you're Antonio Brown, you're supposed to apologize for all the things that you've done
Oh yeah.
and
that
try to
guy.
get re-signed by the
Man,
Patriots.
he went away.
Yeah, and I think he's scared now because nobody's calling.
Interesting.
Taylor Hall, we found out yesterday. It looks like New Jersey's given up. They are asking teams to put together packages, and what's interesting is 4 pieces said to be the ask. You have to think that includes first-round pick, bare minimum, and a very good prospect, and probably 2 roster players that are younger. It looks like Colorado right now is the leader on that one, and they want to get it done by Christmas.
That is banana sandwich.
Can you imagine Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Taylor Hall?
Oh,
It's
it's
December,
And Gabriel Landeskog and everybody, and Nazem Kadri, whatever.
December 19th is the roster freeze, I believe.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be in the next little bit.
They're
Like
hoping
10
to get
days.
it. What would that look like?
That'd be awesome.
that would certainly be exciting. And I'm dying to I was talking to CJ today. I want to get him on before Christmas.
God damn, yeah, I know. We've been trying forever.
I no, and he's fired up.
Is he?
Oh yeah, he wants to come on.
What? That's awesome.
Great.
I'm so surprised.
Can we please go,
I
can we
know.
please get him on soon?
Oh, I know.
shocked.
But can you imagine he's in the studio when something happens?
That'd be great.
When something goes down? So, okay, yeah, I was making sure on the player's first name. The Avalanche picked 4th overall last year, courtesy of the Ottawa Senators. He is a left shot defenseman. So far, in 26 games with the Vancouver Giants of the WHL, he has 3 goals, 14 points. 14 assists for 17 points. He had 71 points last year, so he's way down on his pace. But 18, 4th overall pick, Bowen Byram.
Oh, yeah.
If you're the New Jersey Devils, your ask starts with that.
And if you're
Has to.
Colorado, you say, yeah, okay.
Sure,
Give
man.
me Taylor Hall.
So yes, so
the
this
Hart
is
Trophy winner
this
for a
is-
guy who I don't know.
it's got to be conditional, right? Like if he re-signs, then you're giving me way more.
Another
Sure.
first or something.
Yeah,
Sure,
but like
Well, maybe not.
Drew again, the Avalanche fan. This is how I base everything. He's like, no, we can't let go of Byram. And I'm like, well, then you don't get Taylor Hall.
Right.
Yeah.
It's Taylor Hall.
And the chance right now is to get Taylor Hall, and you should.
Yeah.
If there's any team that should, they've got the cap room. Nathan Mackinnon is such a charitable guy. He signed for way less than he was worth.
He's a really great guy.
He is such a great guy. He signed
guy.
for market value at the time, and he just turned out to be a lot better. Isn't that wild? That quote made me laugh.
And he said in 2022 he's going to take less. Because he's a good guy.
You know what? Tavares took less. Less can be a lot. Less can still be a huge fucking number. I hope everybody's clear on that. Tavares could have got $13 million from the San Jose Sharks per year for 8 years. For 7
Mackinnon
years.
is good friends with Sidney Crosby, and both kids from Cole Harbor are going to take less.
Crosby also did not take less.
He did.
He took
8.7.
a significant amount of money at the time.
No, Crosby says to win, everybody's got to take less.
Yeah, well, his
Letang did it. Malkin did it. I did it.
Wasn't his percentage at the time like 15% of the cap?
14.5.
Yeah, like, come on.
No, but then the next deal, the one he's currently on, was only 12.
Oh.
He took less.
Shit.
Listen,
he's worth
they're
way
good
more than
guys.
that. I agree. He's worth more than that.
It's ridiculous to think that these guys are taking less.
Yeah, but it's great with the fans.
But
and
it's a great narrative to spin.
As Leaf fans, the only reason this bothers us is because our players didn't.
They did the complete opposite.
They did the complete fucking opposite,
Yeah.
and they did exactly what they should do, which is get as much money as you fucking can while you can.
No, they had their breakout seasons before they signed.
That's also true, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also
Nathan
true.
MacKinnon was not that good.
He was a 60-point player?
If that, he would have been happy to. And then hit the first year of his contract, he didn't even hit 20 goals.
Yeah.
Like that, because that was the year they had like 48 points or whatever.
that was a bad year.
They were trash. And then all of a sudden he exploded for 90. And he hasn't looked back.
Yeah.
So
And that was, 5 years into his career?
Yeah, he went.
Yeah.
People need to remember that.
Kudos
Like,
to Colorado.
With Matthews, Nylander, and Marner, they're not even at that point.
No.
No.
Like, they've done extremely well, and then we should be very excited. If Nathan MacKinnon had been drafted as a Leaf, he'd have been traded before he was good.
Well,
because people
probably.
would have been like, oh, he's only a 60-point guy. That's bullshit.
McKinnon went 63, 38 in 64 games, 52, 53, and then 97 in 17,
Yeah.
18. That's his point totals.
He went from
He exploded.
disappointing player on easily the league's worst team to MVP candidate.
Right. Perennially.
in one season. Also, and I didn't realize this, the Avalanche picked twice in the first round last year.
Oh, yeah.
They also picked 16th overall Boston College center Alex Newhook. So, if you're the New Jersey Devils,
Take two of those guys.
you can't. The package can't include any less than one of them. You're either giving me Byram or Newhook. Actually, I'd prefer both. It's Taylor Hall.
And if you're New Jersey, like, you're not going to get a roster player from Colorado because they're not looking to subtract from the roster. The roster's great.
no, they have a chance to win.
Yeah, so
They
they're
have a
not going
chance
to
to
do
win.
that. You're not going to get Cale Makar. You're not going to get anybody that's great right now. If you're New Jersey and you just play this right and you trade PK now, you trade Wade Simmons now, you may even want to look at Severson because he's got a lot of value on that contract. And you got to look at where his competitive window is going to be because he's 24, 25 already. Start moving those guys out now and be trash. Be for the next 18 to 20 months what Detroit is right now.
Shouldn't be
You
too
and Detroit
hard.
should be fighting it out for the shittiest team in the league.
Yeah.
And then you'll turn it around and you'll be great again.
What if John Hines sucked and Nezradine makes them amazing? No, it's not going to happen.
That's not gonna happen. I feel bad for Nezradine. Apparently, they're only going to give him like 10 games to figure it out. And it's like, dude,
my God.
figure what out? There's
And
nothing to figure
Horacek.
out. It's a bad team.
Like, Horich, you got to get
Horacek.
a better agent, dude. Like, what are you signing?
Tire fire.
Yeah,
It's
Panthers
That's
with
funny.
no shot. Leafs with no shot. Devils with no shot. Dude, join a team. Like an option, like an actual option. Oh, poor guy.
Is PK Subban with half retained a Leaf?
No,
No, I'm not even interested.
he's not
He's
played
been
well.
that bad. He's been that bad. I think that back injury is still.
But
a
is this
thing.
the opportunity to get PK Subban that you can revitalize at 4.5?
Nah. That's too expensive.
It's too long. It's not that it's too expensive. It's too long.
It's 2 years.
$4.5 million bucks.
2 years?
You're taking
years?
Cece.
Yeah, they got to take Cece. Yeah, I'll take that.
You're taking them, and then it's even money.
All right.
And then I think about it.
All right.
Seriously. And even then, I'm a little worried.
And the Leafs still have to sweeten the pot going back because New Jersey.
No, I think you're doing New
Not
Jersey
really.
a tremendous favor.
Yeah.
You're freeing
also-
up cap space, and you're giving them the opportunity to take that 4.5 and do something else with it.
Right.
Because here's
He's
the
been
thing,
that bad.
if they
I can't believe it.
he's been a hugely diminished asset, and I also think that part and parcel of that has to do with the fact that New Jersey's been that bad. Remember that his numbers are going to look terrible. Taylor Hall's numbers don't look good. It's not
Offensive defensemen need the guys ahead
Yeah,
of them
we're
to
not
score.
sitting here saying Taylor Hall is a bad player.
No,
Right.
Even though his numbers don't reflect how good he is.
Yeah, the
I
whole
think-
team's a mess.
I think the whole team's a mess, and it's pretty hard for us to. I'm looking for. Oh, okay, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
Why
you
not?
You can't evaluate anyone on a team that is this bad. It's just
It's
not
really
fair.
hard to.
They
It's
have
like Colorado a
zero,
few years ago.
They have minus goaltending.
Guys, Taylor Hall has 6 goals this year.
Right.
I think that's 2 more than the last update. Wow.
He had
Look at
11
you
last
go.
year. He had 11 last year.
Well, he was injured.
Yeah, he didn't play.
In how many games?
33.
Yeah.
That's
40 the year before. But remember,
he was
like, guys, he's got.
unstoppable.
Yeah, he's a great player. The point is, Taylor Hall probably looks bad. Wayne Simmons actually kind of looks good.
Yeah.
Sell. If you're New Jersey, sell it out. The question I would have is Ray Shero the guy you want to do that?
No, he doesn't deserve it, man. He doesn't deserve it. He built a team that we thought had a chance at the playoffs, and very does not.
Like, because he didn't solve the goaltending issue.
Yeah.
No, and like Blackwood, I do think Blackwood has the opportunity to be something in this league, but to put the full burden of the team on him now, I think is really unfair.
Yeah.
To the
We
guy.
keep going back to the goaltending thing. I think it was that simple.
Yep.
Probably.
You didn't solve it at all.
Do we? And I'm moving on. Do we?
You moving on
owe-
from PK to the Leafs?
Oh yeah, because it's not going to happen unless Cody Cece's going the other way.
The only way it happens is the way we discussed. Yeah.
All right. Anything can
And
happen.
even then, I'm not sure.
Do we, as Francisco Aquilini, listener of this podcast, allegedly, do we?
He listens with Biz.
owe Francisco Aquilini an apology?
Why?
Well, not him. We owe Jim Benning, according to him and his Twitter account, an apology.
What did he say?
He said that Jim Benning is owed an apology for how good JT Miller has been this year. And we said, and
Did we criticize that trade?
I specifically said it's ridiculous to give up a guy whose career high in points came 4 years ago at 56 points, and you gave up a first-round pick for him. He this year has 31 points in 30 games.
Oh, he's been very good. It wasn't him who scored the OT winner that hit the water bottle.
Yeah, I
that,
think so.
That I retweeted. That was friggin' sick. Kudos to whoever the Canucks social person was who got that. That was unreal. The worry was a non-playoff team from last year gave up a first-round pick for a guy who, like you said, Adam, it looked like
He hadn't hit 50 points in a few years, and it was like, okay, I know he just played in Tampa where his minutes would have been limited, but still. And if you look at the,
I think I've been more bullish on the Canucks than most for.
I know, I'm just giving you a hard time. The Canucks,
No, not you.
the Canucks
Sorry.
are barely hanging on to that last wild card spot. They got
Yeah.
a game in hand in Calgary. That's why Calgary's not in it.
They've speed wobbled a bit.
And they won last night. If Vancouver does not make the playoffs, do we still then owe Jim Benning an apology?
No.
I'm not issuing the apology until the Canucks make the playoffs.
No, and that's
and-
the thing. With a first-round pick, you're forever tying the success of the team to that trade.
Right.
JT Miller could contend for the friggin' Hart. And if you don't make the playoffs and you end up giving up, I don't know, is it lottery protected?
I don't believe so.
Because if it's not, you're nuts. You're nuts. And you could end up giving up the third, second, or first overall pick. And then JT Miller could be God, and it would still be a mistake.
And the Lightning, who could miss the playoffs this year, and the Canucks, who could miss the playoffs this year, the Lightning would still end with 2 first-round picks.
I will be so frustrated.
Can you imagine?
The Lightning could pick first and second.
Can you fucking imagine? That'd be the most Lightning thing to happen ever.
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, the Leafs are like, oh, we had to give our first rounder for Patrick Marleau
Right.
to get him to not play for us.
Come on. Who is now like friggin' Zeus with his giant Old man Beard just scoring a big old bunch of goals for the San Jose Sharks, who are now not ass anymore.
One thing that's fun that's happening in the NBA is the Golden State Warriors are going to end up with the first overall pick this year.
That's
They're
so
currently
frustrating.
the worst team in the NBA.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so frustrating. And it's not like they dismantled the team.
No, it's just
everyone's hurt.
And they're going to come back next year with the first overall pick. And they're
Yeah, because Steph Curry broke a bone in his hand. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Klay Thompson's
Klay
out
Thompson.
for the season, and Draymond was out for a little bit, and D'Angelo Russell's not playing well. So they're going to get first overall pick.
He was supposed to be sheltered by God knows
Yeah,
how
he was
many
supposed to be
stars.
number
Right.
4.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and now you're like,
That reminded me of that.
It's true.
So Tampa might do the same thing.
Does
God, that's
John
frustrating.
Tortorella owe Anthony Duclair an apology for saying he can't play hockey?
is that, yeah, so his words on him were really harsh.
He said, I don't even know if he can play hockey. Anthony Duclair, since coming to the Senators, over 50 games, has 21 goals.
Holy shit. Oh,
Yeah.
that's dating back to last year.
Getting back to last year, this year has 13 goals in 30 games.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that much.
It's a lot.
That's real good. Wow.
And I just want to have a look here. I had a quick check at the standings. Steve, put your phone down for just a second.
No, sure. I was going to look something up for the show. But
Hang on.
No, it's fine.
No, I wanted to ask you this.
No, it's great.
Who do you think is last in goals for in the league this year?
Oh, the teams. I was
Just
like,
the-
I
and-
assume it's someone with none.
Yeah.
My vote would be
Sorry, that's where my dumb brain went.
Teams.
my vote would be Detroit.
Detroit would be
Yes.
a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
That always bothered me when
Yeah,
people
when
said
people
that.
say
Yeah,
Detroit.
why do they call it Detroit?
I don't know.
People from Detroit don't call it Detroit.
Yeah.
Adam, enough about Detroit. Well, it could be Detroit.
The Detroit Red Wings.
Right.
Bob Cole's allowed.
Yeah, okay.
Everyone else can frick.
Yeah, but he did spend 80 years calling them
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah, it may. You know what? When he was born, maybe it was called Detroit,
But it's not
and
anymore.
then they changed it.
So who do you think? Jesse had a good guess.
He sure did.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
No. The worst
I know
goal scoring
who it is.
team in the league right now is Detroit.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
Second, by the way, Detroit's goal differential, just see if you can get within 10.
Like,
I
it's
looked this up
minus-
the other day.
Minus 40.
Last I checked, it was minus 56.
Minus 58.
Oh, God.
Okay, so here's how bad that is, by the way. Because I looked this up the other day.
So bad.
Here's how bad
Oh,
that is,
God.
by the way. They're minus 58.
Yeah.
The last place team in the league last year, the Ottawa Senators, was minus 60.
Ooh.
And the team with the worst goal differential was the LA Kings with minus 61. It is
What's
not.
the all-time number?
Oh, friggin'! It's probably well over 100. Like go back to the 80s and the expansion era. Might be minus 200, but the Detroit Red Wings are already in the territory of those two teams, and it's not even Christmas. Now it's goal differential, so it can go up and down.
Sure.
But what do we expect?
Yeah. Yep.
Unless they do something cool at the end of the season, sort of like what the Leafs did 15-16, where all the kids come up, because they're intentionally bad.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
just
the smart thing to do. Yzerman's not an idiot.
Oh.
He knows what he's doing.
no. He's definitely throwing guys out there like
Whatever, who cares?
prepare to die.
Yeah.
Yes, you are today's sacrificial lamb. Yes, Robbie Fabry, first line. Coach, I want a bigger opportunity. That's great. We're going to trade you away from the Stanley Cup champions so that you can get that opportunity. Wait, no! He's done well, too.
He
That's
has.
the crazy
he
thing.
has. But would he on a good team? That's always the question.
I think he's
So here's the reason I bring this up, though.
Because something about another team,
No,
perhaps?
well, Anthony Duclair can't play hockey, has scored 13 goals this year for the Sens.
Wow.
Scored 8 last year, but 13 goals this year for the Sens. Number 2 in the least goals scored department, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Their differential is a negative 20. That's not the That's not the second worst in the league, but they have the least amount of goals. They've always been a pretty tight defensive team.
Yeah.
But
That's Tort's thing.
if Duclair was playing for them and had scored his 13 goals for them, he never would have had the opportunity. But if he had, they would be middle of the pack and close to about minus 6, meaning
Which
that
is right in there.
right in the mix.
Yeah, you're tacking on 13 goals to their
Like
record.
like Montreal is a minus 5, right?
Right.
Minnesota minus 8, New York Rangers minus 3. I'm just looking at teams here that could be, they could be in that range of pushing for the playoffs. They, that's the difference. It's weird. It's like one guy who has 15 to 20 extra goals.
I have it.
What do you have?
The Ottawa Senators should try to acquire Alex Galchenyuk.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, they're
bad.
the island of misfit toys. They're the prove 'em wrong team this year, and they all have that chip on their shoulder. I don't think it would hurt Alex Galchenyuk to be in that environment. Now, what's the deal there? I wonder if the Duke could go to Pittsburgh. What if Pittsburgh offered a nice enough deal?
For Duclair?
Yeah, a little sweetener plus Gouch for Duclair. Could work. I don't know. Or they also got Nemesnikov.
Doesn't
they were always
Peugeot
gonna
need a new
trade.
deal too? Hasn't he not
Peugeot
signed?
needs a new deal.
Yeah,
I
UFA.
mean,
Like, if Ottawa
you
doesn't
gotta
get...
keep some guys,
But
for
dude,
God's sake.
if Peugeot doesn't re-sign before the trade deadline,
Yeah,
you have got to trade him.
that's why they should sign him, though. I think
I'm
should
sure they
sign him.
want to. I just
Yeah.
don't know that he wants to sign.
They
I don't
really-
think that he does.
They need to get a guy to stay. For crying out loud, they gotta get a guy to stay. Oof, that's a tough one. But I don't know. There's my little
They
idea.
did get a guy to stay. His name's Eugene Melnick, and he is
Hey,
staying.
hey. No,
Does anybody know how Connor Brown is doing over there?
I thought he was like their top scorer for a while.
No way.
No, that was always Peugeot. Or no, he had the crazy plus minus. I don't know.
Adam
How's he
Mild?
doing?
Are you looking it up?
I almost looked up Connie Brown, who was a player in 1917. Connor Brown
Guy
has,
or not guy?
has has
Connie
3
Brown.
goals and 15 assists.
That's really good, man. 18 points.
Yeah, the guy's a 6th-round player. Like, come on.
Yeah, he's. I don't know. Okay. Connor Brown, I always knew he was going to do fine with Ottawa. He scored at every level.
I don't know that he's
There's
going
just no room.
I don't know that he's going to score 20 goals again.
Maybe not. But, if he puts up 40, 50 points,
It's great.
it's great. He was the sweetener. Come on. Yeah. Come on.
Come
I don't know
on.
why I said it like that.
Come on. And that's it for me. I will turn it over to Jesse in the press conference. But if you don't mind, I'd like to take a pause because I got to pee.
That's great.
Steve and I will keep talking.
Steve
Oh, okay.
Dangle press
It's a lot
conference.
easier.
I'm going on my phone because Dad's leaving.
Oh, well, then I have to talk.
was I didn't want you to get distracted.
Adam, nobody
joking.
can hear you.
Adam, you know what you're talking
Go
about.
to the
I
locker
trust
room.
you. I play for keeps. Yes, Jesse?
Steven, I asked the handy Twitter if you could ask. I tweeted this 24 minutes ago. It already has 70 replies.
Wow.
I said, if you could ask Steve Dangle and Adam Wild one question, what would it be? So I'm going to ask you one of the ones that was just for you.
Okay.
Because Adam Wild is gone.
What's it like being wrong and stupid?
Leafs,
Not great.
Leafs Fanic wants to know, why does Steve always bail on EASHL sessions? Why do you do that?
Oh, so I was supposed to play the other night, and I didn't because I was having a good weekend and fell asleep. That's why. Who tweeted that? Was that Nick?
Leafs Fanic.
Oh, it's Leafs fan Nick.
Yeah, Leafs Fanic.
You're an idiot.
I am aware I am an idiot.
He's a member of the Dangle Navy, which is our EASHL team.
Do you really have a... I didn't know you had a team
Yeah,
behind our back.
You're not invited.
Why can't I play on it?
No, you can play.
I don't want to
You'll be
anymore.
really happy to know this. Adam will
dare
be
you.
too once he comes. I've converted to wing. I play on the wing now.
So you're no longer a defenseman
liability.
who plays wing.
No, now I'm a defensively responsible winger
Okay.
and a little bit
What is-
offensively inept. I'm a playmaker.
Okay.
I'm a playmaker
Why have Adam and I not been invited to this team if it's called the Dangle Navy?
because you suck and are awful.
And now I'm going to create my own team.
Wow! No, you're welcome. You're welcome to join.
I'm going to create my own team. That's going to be your team. I'm going to be the Space Jam, and you are the Monstars, and I will take you down.
Wow.
Yep,
Wow.
because I am the good guys.
Because you're the good.
I'm
guy.
gonna be
I don't. You picture yourself with a cape every morning. I know you do.
My team is going to be 6 William Nylanders.
This
He
is
will
this is
play
how
goal.
you leave the house. you leave like that. Oh shit.
I'm going to create a player, William Nylander, to play goal. We'll change like his edit. I'll edit his thing. So then we'll have 6 William Nylanders,
Amazing.
and we'll go up against your team in EASHL, and we will beat you.
And you will get crowned. That's what will happen.
And then
Adam,
they'll crown your ass.
you will you'll like this development in EASHL in Chell online. I've converted to wing. I play on the wing now.
You're hiding one of the most important parts of that story.
Okay.
Steve has created a secret team
I have not created
behind
it.
our back and didn't invite us to play on it.
Oh.
It's called Dangle Navy.
And he didn't tell us or invite us to play.
Oh, we're not a part of it.
We're not. So I said we're going to make our own team and defeat his team.
I'm going to buy the game and I'll show you.
Yeah, you don't have any NHL.
Dude, I haven't played video games much this year.
What do you have
One day. One day. No, listen, I would love to get back on and play it.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering why we weren't invited.
And why we must now create our own team to take down Steve.
Guys, there's vacancies on D.
Who is playing with you on this team?
Well, there's Leafs fan Nick there. There's Butter, is it Butter 34? Ian Tulloch is another guy I missed.
What?
Tic Tac Tomar. Oh, yeah.
What did you
Chunky
tell
Chow.
us?
What the fuck, man?
Those are all our friends.
I don't play with them often. I just sometimes do. And I often bail, which was the whole reason we started this conversation. I had a good weekend, so I fell asleep and I missed our sesh. But it's okay. I'm sure they won without me.
Move on.
Oh, Adam's hurt.
Wow, Jesse.
I'm a little offended.
I'm a little offended too.
You know,
I'm so sorry.
is
Wow.
Steve a bad person?
Potentially.
And fat.
Our next question, you weren't here, but I had asked on Twitter if you could ask Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde one question, what would it be?
Okay.
One of the replies is from JD Bunkus. He says, "Can I have some money?"
No, you have some
good
money.
Show on the Fan 590.
I don't really have any extra for you, JD. I'm
Talk
sorry.
to our sales department there, JD. No. No.
Here's the thing. JD should be making all the ratings bonuses from the big times ratings that those guys are doing. So come on.
Are they?
I don't know. I'm sure they are.
I don't know.
The Fan is a huge radio station, so I'm sure they're doing great.
I saw an article the other day. It's like the books are out, and I clicked it and saw the chart, and I went, I am absolutely not processing this information.
Whenever you read the books are out, usually it doesn't say anything about actually what the numbers are, because they'll be like, they'll give you numbers that'll, when you see radio ratings and it says 2+, that means everybody over the age of 2. So nobody sells anything based on that.
Fake system.
Because they don't have a better system right now.
Why? There's no excuse. It's 2019. Why is it the best? It's terrible.
I agree.
Garbage. So anyway, no, you cannot have money. You got any more of those?
Sorry, JD.
This next one, it comes from Christian. If the only way to win the Stanley Cup was to trade away one of the 4 major forward contracts, which one would it be and why?
On the Leafs?
Literally does not matter. Any of them.
I don't care.
Any of them. Don't care.
If I'm gonna say one though, I'd say Tavares, and the reason why is the other 3 are gonna be better longer.
Wow.
There's a reason.
No, but
Because you have the 4 contracts and you got to trade one away. You're taking away that guy's Stanley Cup ring. Because once you move one,
I don't like that.
you're
I love John
moving
Tavares.
one, and then you automatically win the Stanley Cup. It's like, oh, you magic beans.
well, out of the 4, who's the worst?
Nylander.
Yes, correct.
That's untrue.
Correct, Adam. Correct. So you got to trade William Nylander. There,
Although this year of the 4, he's been the best consistently.
maybe best value.
Best value for sure. Yeah.
The answer is get out of here with your questions, Satan.
Yeah.
That's
oh my God.
awful.
And
How
also,
dare you.
I love Tavares. I just think that by the time he's 34, he might be a different story on the contract.
Hey, what if we could give you ultimate happiness while also taking a significant chunk of it away?
That would be very Leafs.
Yeah.
I'm going to need help pronouncing this name. Steve, if you want to help me. Ariane Perot writes on Twitter. What is the one thing you want to see changed in the NHL in your lifetime? You get commissioner for a day, you get one change. What's it going to be? I think I know what Adams is going to be.
Ban Troy Brouwer.
Is that the change you're going to make?
No, the blue line goes to the ceiling. Is the first thing that comes to mind.
That's a good one.
Do we scrap all reviews?
If it were me,
No.
I would institute a luxury cap immediately. Luxury to hard cap, meaning that there would be a luxury tax And then there would be a hard cap on top of the luxury tax. So you can't have the Rangers or the Leafs spending obnoxiously beyond that. But the luxury tax would be aggressively taxed so that the teams without the ability to go into that would only benefit when other bigger teams did. So, if say the Leafs go into it, for every $1 you go over into that cap, $4 has to go to the pot that then goes to the smaller market teams that don't make as much money.
It's what the Leafs are doing now, basically.
That's exactly what they're doing now,
Paying
which
for
is why when anybody
Clarkson.
debates me on it, they're fucking wrong. They're just wrong. They're absolutely wrong. You're wrong.
How about this? Every former player in the Department of Player Safety is fired if they didn't average at least 50 points a season. Sorry, you got to be good.
Only goal scorers.
Yep, sorry,
You know
gotta
what?
Be good.
It makes a lot more sense. The problem is goal scorers don't need the money.
No, well, there's that. But yeah, I don't want someone who was doing the infractions in charge
Yeah, I
of the
want someone who was on the
infraction
receiving
watching.
end. I'd like,
Yes.
I don't know, Steve Moore. That'd be interesting.
He doesn't fulfill any requirements there, other than he got punched. That was pretty bad. Holy shit, I went back and watched that the
It's
other day.
vicious. I watched it too.
Wow.
I'd forgotten.
Because of all the Mark Crawford
Yeah,
stuff going
yeah.
around. Holy shit.
I'd love to watch somebody who was seriously injured by something to be that guy. The problem is that a lot of those guys, like, they've made so much money, they don't need.
Or they don't want the headache.
Oh, it's a
Literally.
terrible gig. It's a terrible gig.
No, you should have. No, you need to have hit, let's say, 50 points at least 3 times. That's the requirement.
What about a guy who's never played in the NHL?
Yeah, how about just a fucking arbitrator?
It's just somebody who's good at his job.
Somebody who's consistent.
Yeah, no, I do think it's important to have someone who goes, I've seen this before. Here's what happened to
Steve,
me
let
in
me
that
ask you something.
situation. Sure.
Who's watched more hockey, the guys that have played or you? I'm sure they watch a lot of tape of themselves, but
I think you've probably watched more hockey.
Probably.
That's my point.
Anyone who does highlights, because you're watching God knows how many games.
My point is this.
Is a
in a night.
requirement of a judge to have murdered before
Yes.
to make the judgment on
This
a
isn't
murderer?
the same. It's not the same.
Because Steve, if
Steve,
the
it
judge
is the
has
same.
never murdered, is he allowed to
How
judge
would
a
he be able to
murderer?
I was
empathize
taking
with the
this to the
murderer?
radical
Yeah.
level,
How-
and then you
listen,
guys just went
I am a
so
judge.
many levels above me.
I'm a judge, and I murdered someone, so I know how hard it is on you, Mr. Murderer.
Exactly.
When you murder someone, how much guilt you must feel being a murderer. So I'm going to reduce your sentence so you don't feel so guilty as a murderer, even though you murdered someone. Sorry, family of murderer or murdered. Listen, you don't understand what it's like to be a hard-working guy who brings his lunch pail to work and works really hard, and it's really tough for him to get in the lineup.
Yeah.
So he's got to punch faces and kill people.
Yeah.
Do you see where
It's the same logic.
If we were drunk
Hire
right now,
a
the
fucking
conversation
lawyer.
would. If you had a time machine, you'd kill Hitler, right? Right?
hire a lawyer?
You'd do it. You'd 100%
no,
do
but
it.
do you
though.
see the logic in the murderer
It's
conversation?
stupid. It's stupid.
Oh, I get it. But
Yeah.
no, that's not what we're talking about.
It is. It's the same thing. It's an arbitrator. You need somebody who's an outside who's not empathizing with the guy who just
Yeah.
punched the guy in
How
the face
about
on the
don't
ice.
No,
take a-
no, wait. That's what I was saying.
No,
Yeah.
but you're asking for a goal scorer.
You're
That
asking
guy
for a
still
player.
played the game and been like, hockey.
He was the one getting punched.
No, but he's still like, hockey. I got punched sometimes. Why don't you get punched sometimes?
Yeah.
You're making up a personality
Why
now.
don't we?
Making up a personality. That's how that guy feels.
So are
That's
you.
not how that guy feels.
He could.
This
He
is in
could.
my head, not
But at
yours.
least we know
No,
the
my
guy.
guy's a lot more caring.
Here's the
At
problem,
least we
Steve.
know the guy who had never been punched or has punched is neutral.
Yes.
At least we know
Yes.
that one guy is neutral. The other guy is going to have some biases.
How about we try to go
Biases.
bias free? I don't know.
Oh, crazy.
So,
Let's get the
okay.
judge who hasn't murdered.
So he can't be a fan of any team or at any point in his life. No,
God.
Adam, we're going to the umpteenth degree with this. He can never have watched
Well,
hockey
then
before.
you better fire all the referees because they all grew up watching hockey.
They all
Adam,
got sticks at home that
I'm
are
not
signed.
opposed to that. Remember, I'm the commissioner today. You're all fired.
Steve goes to West Macaulay. You're fired with a little
yeah,
dance.
With a little dance.
You can't do that.
Oh, all ref mics confiscated.
I don't know why you
What?
don't like that. I think it's great.
No, listen.
It's
you
just-
do your little dance if you do your job properly. He missed 3 easy ones. It's one of the most accomplished refs in the league. It's pathetic. Don't do your little stupid dance. It's
You guys
pathetic.
want another question?
3 times 50-point score.
Why do we know Wes McCauley's name?
Exactly!
It is a weird question.
Because he showed personality once or twice. And now he's a god, and we got to mic him up at the All-Star game.
Like, how many NBA refs do you know?
The saddest league. The
I know quite a
saddest
few.
league.
You know, yeah.
I could name a few.
I can name some of the older ones, like Mick Magoo. And,
Who's Mick Magoo?
That was an NHL ref.
Yeah.
Mick Magoo.
Kerry Fraser. Yeah, of the current ones, Dan O'Halloran, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I don't even know.
Anyway.
Next question. Do you think the Leafs call up Sandin before the end of the season?
Yes.
Yes.
That's from wet_Willie29.
Oh, God.
That should be 88, sir. But
Why do we think so?
Because he's friggin' really good at hockey.
because Cody CC's trying.
Yeah. I think
Where does he slot in?
I think
that
we CC you
is
later.
the question, right? Someone is going to have to play their off wing or off
Dermott.
side. I
There
guess
it
it's
is.
going to be
It's
Dermott.
easy.
Riley Berry's not selling me, but
They barely played together.
yes, I agree with that. So you got to give him a little bit of time. I think Dermott Cece's got some potential there. I like Muzzin Hall. Leave that alone. Yeah. So now what do? You got okay. So let's keep Riley Berry together.
Yeah.
Do you do Muzzin Dermott? And then Sandine Cece? I don't like that. Do you do...
No, I don't think you play CC. I think
Sandin on his
CC
offside?
you blast to the moon. He's gone. Goodbye.
I'd like... Adam, I'm open to it. I just
They're
don't
only
believe it
putting
when
him
I
there.
see it.
No, when the Leafs actually gear up, are you kidding me? CC's not playing. There's no way.
Is that what we're betting on?
That's
right
I'm
now?
betting on that.
See,
Yeah,
Adam's in Dare
That's
to Dream
interesting.
territory.
I
whereas
think
just
that
won't
they
do
are
it.
pumping and dumping him. That's what's happening.
Dare to Dream.
He is salary.
I would love
He is
that.
salary to match salary on the whatever they get at the trade deadline. I guarantee it.
Dare to Dream. I love it. Subban. There it is.
There it is.
Yes.
Subban. Subban CC.
That fits weirdly well.
It does. Scary.
I don't like it.
Why not?
I don't know.
I think it'd be fantastic.
It's scary.
Plus, PK always deserved to be a Toronto legend, not a Montreal legend.
Yeah, garbage.
So-
Oh my God, PK Subban lifting the cup above his head in a Leafs uniform. Yes. Yes.
Bergevin looking on.
Yes.
Just, hold on.
Imagine.
If Montreal, because Montreal's a little under the gun right now, both Julien and Bergevin. If Montreal doesn't make the playoffs this year, you would think both of them are gone anyway, but Bergevin's never gone. If they miss the playoffs and the Leafs won the cup with Subban, is Bergevin gone then? just because it's Subban.
No, you don't fire him. You make him sit and watch. Sorry. I would love it.
If you're Jeff Molson, you're like, no, you're coming over to my house and we're watching this game.
Oh, yes. Literally Clockwork Orange. Like,
Yeah.
looks into his eyelids.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my God. That'd be terrible. Have subtitles. Oh, yes. Sorry.
We got-
I got lost in a fantasy there.
2 more. Last one's a doozy. But this one first from Cosmit. Did you know there are young singles in your area?
Wow.
Get out.
In Oshawa?
Apparently.
I don't know. I always see everyone all paired up. No one's ever alone. I didn't know there were young singles in my area.
There are plenty of young local singles in your area.
Wow.
great.
What should I do to get in contact with them?
Karaoke night at the Tartan, Wednesdays.
If you call this number, this 1-800 number, and then get charged 40 cents a minute,
I could meet
talk
them.
to-
you'll meet them.
Well, that seems like a fair price to meet the love of my life.
You know what, Adam? You're right. That is sensible.
This one is from Russ Ford. Now, I'll give you guys a second to think. What's the dumbest thing you can remember the other person doing that you can tell on this podcast?
Dumbest thing.
Steve, what's the dumbest thing you can remember Adam doing that you can tell on
Wait,
the podcast?
other than buying a kayak?
That was pretty good. And Adam, same for Steve.
It's tough. Dumbest thing. You don't do a lot of dumb things.
What?
Well, you forget things, but you don't do a lot of dumb things. It's different. Like I have to, whenever Steve and I have a business call, I have to remind him 10 minutes beforehand. And most of the time he's like, oh, we do? I didn't get the invite.
That is true.
And I'm like, you did, but here's the number anyway. And like I'll look at the invite and be like, Steve Glynn, yep.
My long-term memory is unreal. And
Your
my
short-term is
short-term
golf.
memory is terrible. It's an Etch-a-Sketch. Just
So yeah,
Magnum
dumbest
Doodle.
thing. I know we've told this before.
Okay.
This at least what I can remember is that, and this is a very short story. Steve took a swing at our friend's dad when he was drunk, and our friend's dad happened to be a police officer. And Steve would have been what, 20, 21?
20.
20. 18?
Maybe
19?
20.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been 20.
19
No
or
way
20.
you would have been 20. You were too young. You were a teenager. Like 18, 19, something like that. Anyway, they were very drunk. And
It's the drunkest I've ever been.
drunkest he's ever been. And
It's my
Steve-
first experience with a keg.
and all Colin wanted to do was take Steve to bed. Right?
The dad.
The dad. His name's Colin. And
This is all alleged.
I'm not-
I was not there for this.
and I guess
blackout?
and I wasn't there either.
Dude, I don't remember a fucking thing.
I
I don't remember a thing.
I don't remember this either. I wasn't there, but I was living in Halifax, I think, at the time. But the story goes that he tried to pick Steve up, who had fallen flat on the lawn, and Steve tried to take a swing at him as he was grabbing him.
I didn't connect, allegedly.
Yeah, well, which was probably for the best.
Yeah.
Colin was a big man. He is a
Police
big man.
officer.
But Colin has a great sense of humor, and nothing bothers him, so that wouldn't have bothered him either. He's seen much worse. So he put you to bed, and apparently you didn't wake up till 5 the next day.
My first memory was 1 in the afternoon.
Did it hurt?
Oh.
Like I always think about the next day, like just in hangover terms, like how.
I'll never experience something like that ever again. I'll never. I knew I was in trouble, so I woke up, immediately was like, "This is the worst headache I've ever had." Oh, I have to throw up immediately. Went to throw up, and nothing came up.
Ooh, so
And I was like,
so you're just
"Oh,
retching.
Yeah, and I knew I was in trouble. And then Mrs. Dangle, who chose not to leave me that night.
How long had you guys been dating?
Not long.
Yeah,
not
like a
long
few
enough for her
months,
to be
right?
dealing with that shit. And she explained to me everything all at once, which was super helpful for the head. And I have never done that again.
Right.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Stephen, do you have a story about Adam Wilde?
With Adam, it's the audacity. Adam has the audacity, and it's just I'm just trying to think of specific stories where there's so many
The
times
audacity.
the audacity. Like there's just so many times where Adam will. There will be things that I won't even pitch because I think they're ridiculous that Adam will present as option 1. We're going, boys, and I'm just like, Adam, we can't. What are you talking about? And I'm trying to think of specific examples. I don't know if I should tell this one.
What one is it?
Oh.
I don't know if I should tell this one.
Just
It's
give me
bad.
the-
It's all water under the bridge.
give me the top line. What
Which
did I
one
do
is
wrong?
it?
What did I do?
Calgary.
Calgary.
Going back.
Huh?
When you went back to Calgary.
Oh, yeah. No, you can tell this story.
Okay.
You can tell this story.
There was a girl.
what?
There was a girl.
Yeah, you can tell this
You
story.
can tell the story?
Yeah.
There was a girl who
She'll
was,
never hear
This was very dumb.
Okay.
very extra dumb.
I am so excited for story time.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't I
I'm
think you
so
know this
sorry.
one.
No.
I'm so sorry.
No, tell it.
Me and we were actually at that cottage. Me and a guy who owned the cottage, and myself were begging and pleading with Adam not to go back to Calgary to see this girl who was asking you to go back to Calgary
Right.
to see her.
So you lived here.
So the background was we started dating, and I thought it was going to be just, honestly, I thought it was like, oh, well, because I knew at that point that I was leaving, but I was finishing out a contract at Virgin Radio there. And so I had to wait. It was going to be anywhere from 1 to 9 months. We didn't know. So I was like, well, there's no harm in dating or whatever. And I didn't think anything of it. And I wasn't even like being one of those jerks. It was like, yeah, I just wanted to hook up or whatever. I was just like, why would I stop? I'm not going to stop living.
See
I
where it
don't know.
goes. Yeah.
And
know.
and that's so I resigned in November. I think we went out in December sometime. And we ended up really liking each other. So then in January, I have to tell her, like 4 weeks in, things are going really well. Hey, don't know when, but I'll be moving across the country. And so I said at that point, do you want to not date? Because I understand that. We can just hang out as friends or just not hang out at all, like whatever you want.
Yeah.
And she said, no, I want to continue dating. But you could tell it was sort of like, I don't know what to say here. And God bless her, who would know what to say? Anyway, we kept dating and we kept, liking each other more and more and more because we really liked each other. And so when I left, we had continued dating. And so we had this long distance relationship going
across
for a bit.
The country relationship.
Yeah, and then which is not great. And then, but people try. You always try. And then eventually she came to Toronto, and then she was from the outskirts of Calgary. She'd grown up on like a horse farm. So she, one of her pets was a goose. Like she grew up with
What?
She had a duck or something, or a goose or something that would meet her at the. Apparently geese have like really great personalities if you raise them. I didn't know this.
That's awesome.
So she told me that this
The audacity to have a goose as a pet.
So this she used to do competitive like horseback riding, but not like the equestrian shit. It's the shit where you hang off the side of a horse and like hit a barrel and stuff, like crazy stuff.
Like cowboy
I forget what it's
stuff.
called. Real cowboy shit.
Yeah.
Calgary
right?
shit.
Yeah. And so it was really impressive or whatever. And she had this duck that used to meet her at the bus whenever the bus dropped her off from school. Like she had lived a completely different life and had only recently moved to the city. And so when she comes to a city like this, where it's not 20 minutes to get out of the city like in Calgary, it's 20, it could be 2 hours and you're still in suburbia.
Right.
There's no getting out of the city.
It doesn't
It just keeps going and
Yeah.
going and going. So you could tell that this just wasn't a fit. Anyway, so we broke up. And then midway through the summer, we start talking again. Both of us are single.
So she flew here
She
to be
flew
with
here,
you.
and then she
didn't
flew
work.
here twice, actually. She flew here once for my birthday, and that was great. And then she flew back, and then she came again, and the second time you could just tell something was off.
And then she goes back and she's like, we're done.
She goes back and she says,
Okay.
you know what, like, I just can't.
Yeah.
Now,
And despite it being done,
yeah. Well, so you can see how when we start talking in the summertime and over text and stuff and start calling each other, that there was still something there.
Is this the summer of that same year?
Same year.
So that January,
Several months later.
That January is when you first tell her that you're moving to Calgary.
Yeah,
and then all that
and then
stuff
by
happens.
August, we've been broken up for like 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
and then by August, it's like we're talking.
Okay.
So I didn't have anything to do. So I was like, well, I got vacation time. Why don't I just go back and...
why don't I just spend a flight to and from Calgary?
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
Yeah, man. And like,
Had to be like $1,000. I think it was $1,000.
oh,
Yeah.
at
That's
a lot
least.
of money.
And I was thinking about that amount of money. And I think our friend was thinking about that amount of money. We were like, Adam, I hate to see you do this, but... And it wasn't just that. You stayed there for a week.
Well, for 4 days.
4 days.
And I thought,
Oh,
because we were going to go to the mountains, see if we could make it work. And so, anyway, continue.
Well, and then Adam went. And didn't you like...
And Caprice moved home with me. That's how it... No, it's not what happened.
No, didn't you like catch her being like, oh yeah, no, that's not my boyfriend or whatever? And-
Essentially, what...
Oh.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
Are you
So-
sure you want me
Yeah,
to?
I'll tell the story. I don't give a
Okay.
shit. It was 7 years ago. Remember, all the bad stories lead to the end, which is the good story,
the
right?
good
Right.
thing is right now you are
Yes.
happily married and you have a child.
Exactly.
And all of that is just history.
So it went over the course of 4 days. And I want to stress that this person is a very nice person, but I don't think handled this the best. So the first couple days, things are great.
I feel bad.
Or no, first day and a half, things are great. Maybe it's 5 days I was there. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
First part of it's good. And then this one day, she starts to act weird, distant again. And I'm like,
Oh.
Starting to feel like a little bit weirded out by this.
And you went out there to see her. So like these 4 days is just you guys together for 4 or 5
Yeah,
straight days.
yeah. And then the last day, we went and meet some of my friends from the radio station that I had worked at and go to this party. And she's, from what I understand, or what I remember, because remember, it was a long time ago. I think she just, it wasn't that she was flirting with other people. It was that she just wasn't talking to me at all. Like, there's one thing, like, I don't care. Like, you go off and do your thing at a party, whatever. We don't need to be together all the time. But it was like you're, like, ignoring.
like she doesn't know you.
Yeah, it's like like, the only reason you know these people is because of me. Anyway, So long story short, I'm talking to my friend JD, who still works out there on a station called CJ, on the balcony. He said, listen, man, he said, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with her. But this is very clearly not going to work. This is not going to happen. And I was really bummed. And I said, you're right. So then I get it in my head that I'm like, because I'm leaving the next morning. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to stay at her house tonight because that's the only place I had to stay. So I went up to her and I said, listen, I'd like to go. And she's like, well, I'm not ready to leave. Because she was in it was weird.
God, Adam.
So I said, okay, give me your keys and I'll meet you at your place. So what I decided to do was go back to her place, get my shit, pack it up, pack your shit.
Pack your shit.
Yeah, and I took a cab to downtown Calgary and tried to stay at a hotel. And I went to like 3 different hotels.
Oh, this is getting more expensive by the minute. Oh, God.
And it didn't work. And then I ended up staying, and anybody from Calgary is going to know this place, the Sandman Inn, which is a terrifying hotel in downtown Calgary. Downtown Calgary has fits and spurts. There are parts of it that are nice. There are parts of it that you're like, wow, that was from the 80s, and they just never finished it because they're, boom and bust with the oil thing. And so the Sandman Hotel doesn't have the best reputation, but I didn't mind it. And I walked in and they're like, we have 1 room. I'm like, I will take it. This is 2 a.m. I'm leaving at like 7.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so I wake up to, and I'm slightly drunk too, so I go to bed. I wake up to a bazillion calls and texts from her.
Oh, now it's your fault.
Now it's my fault a little bit. And she's, where are you? What are you doing? What the hell is this? And I'm like, I had left her keys, by the way. I didn't take them. I locked her house and left the keys under the mat and whatever, and shot her a message after and said, hey.
Oh my God, there's so many cabarets.
Anyway, yeah, this will go on forever. It's painful. And then,
oh my God.
And then, so this is why I'm telling you this part, because it gets worse.
Like, you could have ended it.
You could have ended
like
this.
6 layers ahead.
But here's how
Dude,
fucking
if you would just let me tell the story, I know so many fewer details.
Well, the reason I'm telling you, I got to tell you the Calgary side of this because you got to know how painfully bad it was.
Oh, okay.
You learn, when you make, wow, that was 1 bad decision, 2, 3, 4, 5 bad decisions. Like you're just counting them up, and you learn so many little things that you can take with you the rest of your life in 1 5-day period, which is what happened here. So I am having breakfast the next morning, and I get a call from her.
Yeah, where are you having this breakfast?
In the Sandman Hotel. Continental breakfast.
Waiting for your flight.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to get down to the airport, whatever. I'll call a cab.
Okay.
And anyway, she calls me and she goes, so what the hell was that? And I was like, when I explained to her the situation, and I said, it's very clear, and that you're not like, this is, you've froze me out again, and I'm this is not the first time, and I think, I think it was pretty obvious last night that you didn't want me to be around, so I think I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And I was like very calm. And she said, well, I'm going to drive you to the airport. And here's where I made the mistake, is I agreed to that.
Oh,
and that, because here's the thing, it was sort of like,
my story was literally, you shouldn't have flown out there.
Right.
And then you did.
And then I did a bunch of other things. See, when your friends already made 1 bad choice, what's to stop them from making 10? So
you're gambling to win your money back.
Because she kept, initially what had happened was she kept texting me. I'm like, can we just do a phone call? Because I don't want to text this much. I'm exhausted. I'm hungover, like whatever. So she's like, she said something along the lines of, well, are you just going to yell at me? And I was like, no, I'm not going to yell at you. There's nothing to yell about. Anyway, so again, I want to stress, she's not a bad person at all. She's a very good person. It was just not going to work between the two of us, and that's what this was. So anyway, so we drive to the airport and have one of the most awkward goodbyes I've ever been a part. And she sort of walked in with me, and I was like, okay, thanks. And then it was almost like she was making up for the night before because she felt bad about how she treated me, but she definitely did want me to go at the same time. It was like, I feel bad for I feel like I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror tonight, but I also want this fucking guy gone. So that's how it felt.
Wow.
Anyway.
Boy, this is real deep.
So I flew home with, I've never had my tail more between my legs in my life. Like, you talk about, forget the fact that you're hurt. Your pride is just toast.
Oh,
like
yeah.
toast.
Oh.
And it was great because at the end of it, I got to go in and tell Steve about it. I got to tell my co-host at the time about it. And my co-host at the time, Cash, said something very funny, and I'll never forget it. He said, this was on Kiss. He said, well, why do we fall? And I said, why, Cash? I said, I don't know. What is it? And he's like, so we can learn to get back up again.
Oh.
And that's from the first Batman. But it was a very he's like, that's from the first Batman. But you know what I'm saying. It was like, okay, I like that. I thought that was good. And so yeah, the embarrassing part was not just the flight out there. It was everything that happened. And I haven't even given you all the stories. It was just bad all the way around. It was I flew out there and it became very clear after about day 1.5 that I was not wanted there. So anyway, we've connected since, like we connected in the time it took between that August flight and Caprice and I meeting the next spring. And she apologized for it. So that was fine. And so it's all water under the bridge. Like she was never a bad person. And I wasn't a bad person. It just was we were an entire fucking country away. And if we were in Europe, we would have been like 10 countries away. You know what I mean? Like that's how big Canada is.
There is actually one bad person in the scenario. Your friend who brought it up.
No!
And I feel really, really bad.
Why?
I didn't know it was this deep.
They asked for the dumbest. That was me at probably my dumbest.
Well, and
that was pretty dumb. I should have known and I should have listened.
Me and our friend, when you got back, we didn't say anything.
And I appreciated that.
Yeah, that's a good friend.
It was funny because nothing was said. I didn't come back and say, well, that was great.
So
they just knew.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are such good friends.
And
I appreciated that.
We rip each other a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Adam it was very obvious he had ripped himself enough.
That's something you don't rip somebody about because their brain knows.
Mm-hmm. And
your
strangely,
own brain's ripping you.
This is the first time he's ever brought it up. Ever.
Really?
We've never talked about it since.
I'm so sorry.
No. It's not. No, don't be sorry. It's just funny. Like, anyway.
That's a good friend.
No, I didn't. Yeah, we didn't rip you for it. Instead, I just brought it up on our freaking podcast. There are 4 cameras pointed at us right now. Oh, my God.
That's okay, man. Somebody will tell me I'm fat and we'll forget about it.
Yeah. No, I feel you there.
It's, no.
Hey, we can't all be as fat as Steve.
Shut up! How does it feel to know you'll literally never be fat? As hard as you try. You could try.
Sometimes I try.
You could, if someone were to come up to you right now and be like, Jesse, I'll give you $10 million to play whatever character in a movie.
Who's
but
fat?
You have to put on 100 pounds. You couldn't do it.
I probably couldn't do it. Yeah.
That's so annoying.
I hate that so much. I could do that in a fucking month.
There's a lot of me. Like,
There's a lot of me
got
too.
the
audition a month ago. Oh my God.
I was over at my girlfriend's mom's house, and then I ate this. She made this giant dinner. I ate it in like 2 seconds. She's like, "That didn't even fill up your earlobe."
That's such a mom comment.
I've never heard that.
And I was like, "That's an accurate way to describe that." My earlobe's about the size of that plate.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Adam's a smart guy.
those are a couple of dumb stories from a couple of dumb guys.
There's a couple of dumb guys.
The dumbest smart guy thing Adam ever did was he got a radio job. He didn't have to go to school anymore.
See, Steve's trying to make up for this now. I don't know
Yeah.
why he's doing this.
Because it's Steve. He has to.
He got a
you're-
job while I was languishing in school and hating it. And he's like, yeah, but I think I'm going to take like a psychology course or something. And I was like, shut up. What are you doing? I think the first thing I said was, yeah, man, totally. Like, yeah, so you can understand people better. I get it. And then after about 5 minutes, I was like, you're fucking dumb. Like, no, you should definitely take that money and spend it on a race car or anything else. Have it, you literally burn it and set it on fire. Keep yourself warm. Why are you going to school when you don't need to?
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt about school at the time. Mm-hmm. But that's me being dumb.
Well, I never went back to school, so I did take your advice on that one. I wish I'd taken your advice on the plane trip out to Calgary, but you know, you win some, you lose some, right?
That is quite the story.
It is aggressive. I got a few of those. Yeah, I got some painful breakups, like awkwardly weird, painful breakups in the past.
I think everyone does, except for Steve. Steve
doesn't have that. Yeah,
because he's been married to the same woman since he was 13.
19.
19.
Yeah. No, one breakup. One.
Yeah, but it wasn't anything.
So no.
It's high school.
No,
High
yeah.
school.
It's like, I don't like you. I don't want to hold hands at school anymore.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I don't want to see you after math class.
Yeah.
Cool.
Take my picture off your locker, sir.
Yeah. Whoa.
Whoa, damn, things are really changing around here.
Damn. This is getting serious.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I'm sorry to have bored you with that terrible story.
That was awesome.
Was it?
It was. If nobody enjoyed that besides me, I don't give a shit.
all right.
I enjoyed it.
Why? What are you
What
doing?
is happening?
What?
My friend.
Not even embarrassed.
That's my love.
It's now on that camera, so hello.
Well, that's the show for today. We'll see you guys Wednesday. Thumbs up.
when the Leafs beat the Canucks 4-2.
Are they playing the Canucks next?
Yeah, on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh, so this is a game of this is a week of hockey I don't get to watch in real time.
Yeah.
Oh,
None of this.
Yeah.
Too late
Well, if
for
it
us.
goes to the shootout, you might wake up.
Yeah, it's true. Fair enough. Hey, thanks so much for listening. See you Wednesday.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness. Connection complete.